Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Back at you with a new video. Today is Thursday, January 2nd, 2025, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App $ ORIONNWSF or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got the college football playoff quarterfinal, the All-State Sugar Bowl. Number 7, Notre Dame Fighting Irish versus the number 2, Georgia Bulldogs. Kickoff is going to be here in just a couple minutes. So let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get settled in for the All-State Sugar Bowl. Let's get it, baby. Shout out to all the new subs that we have been acquiring within the last couple days and obviously in December. Thank you so much. We're only a few away from 20,700. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. And obviously, I'm ready, baby. Fighting Irish, Georgia Bulldogs. Let's get it. And I got a couple cool logos here. So we got the All-State, obviously, logo that you can see in the top right with the trophy. Then we got the Fighting Irish kind of movable logo where you have the leprechaun and then he jumps off the screen and then it rotates to the Fighting Irish with the words. And then I got a really nice Georgia Bulldog spinning logo with the actual Bulldog itself. So I'm ready to go. This is going to be a good one. And in years past, I think that, when you look at Georgia, in years past, they were so much better than everyone else except for maybe Alabama, Ohio State, and maybe Michigan if they were having a good year. But this year, Georgia's defense isn't really as strong as their traditional defense, but they're still very, very good. Let's not get it twisted one bit. And then the offense doesn't have Carson Beck, but obviously we know with the backup, we have a feeling that he might be able to play a little bit better. Beck was a little bit, limited on what he could end up doing, right? But now we have Gunnar Stockton, great name, fit for the Bulldogs, and he's a little bit better of a runner, but again, he ended up breaking some records, obviously in high school, like a lot of these quarterbacks do, but it kind of feels like this Notre Dame Fighting Irish team, in years past, they would be good, but maybe not good enough to beat an elite team like Georgia. But this year is completely different. I feel like this Notre Dame team is a little bit better than what we normally traditionally see out of them. Does Notre Dame have a chance to win this game? Abso-fucking-lutely. And again, they have to be able to, finish obviously strong, but you want to start fast. And that'll obviously be the key for Notre Dame if they want to be able to be in this late in the matchup. But, it could go either way. It's very, very close, we assume. But we assume the same thing with my Oregon Ducks going against the Ohio State Buckeyes. We thought maybe, the winner would be by 3. Unfortunately, the Ducks, were unprepared, having too much time off. One team's playing every week. Another team's got a month off. Offensive line, defensive line, secondary played bad. The coaching for Ohio State was brilliant, so you got to give them kudos. And again, it's only Dan Lanning's 3rd year, being a coach, and usually it takes 6 years or more, for these big-time head coaches, Kirby Smart, Nick Saban, and a lot of the others, before they actually end up being champions. So definitely, feeling a little bit defeated. But again, I'm still going to enjoy the college football playoff with the rest of the teams that are available. Still rock the Oregon gear. I'm not a bandwagon fan. I've been a fan since the 80s. And I know we'll bounce back. And as long as we have Dan Lanning, we're going to have a chance for that natty at some point. But you got to give kudos to the Ohio State Buckeyes who advanced to play the Texas Longhorns in that bracket. And then Penn State already ended up winning against Boise State. So the winner of this particular matchup, Notre Dame Fighting Irish versus the Georgia Bulldogs, will play Penn State, and then we'll be down to our Final Four. Let's go, baby. I can't wait. Let's get it. Go Irish, baby. I see you. Odin's son with a $20 holla, and I know you're feeling pretty good with your guys' chances this year. Appreciate you. And you say, go Irish. Appreciate you, my guy. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks, a little Cactus Jack bang bang. And Riley Leonard, he's going to have to do it with his arm, possibly a little bit with his legs. You're going to have to try to extend plays with the bootleg as you're being chased down by a lot of these quote-unquote NFL players soon to be. But I can't wait to see what we get here tonight. We're at 20. 8 to go to hit the dono goal. Daniel in the building, what's good? And again, we'll be shooting for 20 likes within the first hour. 30 to 50 if we get the volume or higher, and then obviously 100 in the donos on every single stream. Now, this would have been a little bit better if we would have had this bowl game in the college football playoff at 5 rather than Duke Ole Miss. But again, this was supposed to be on yesterday. But I think that if they would have spread out, these college football playoff games one each day instead of having 3 in one day, that would get better ratings. But it also depends on the time. Right now, it's 1 o'clock Pacific. In the Midwest, it's 3. In the East Coast, it's 4. A little early. But again, we're just kind of, in that holiday season. We're just breaking in 2025. So anytime, when you get the last couple weeks of December and then the first couple weeks of January, things kind of blend together. But I'm very excited for this matchup in the Caesars Superdome where the Saints play between the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and the Georgia Bulldogs. Let's get it, baby. Hope this ends up being an electric matchup, and I assume that it will be. We had the big blowout yesterday. I don't expect a blowout here today, and hopefully Notre Dame can, rise to the occasion. And obviously, if you're a Georgia Bulldog fan, you want to be able to hang on, to that top spot of being one of the top dogs. We've already seen Alabama and Michigan fall back, but Michigan ended up finishing the season very, very strong. Alabama, not so much. So we're going to see here tonight, Notre Dame, Georgia Bulldogs. Let's get it, baby. Kickoff is incoming. Let's get it. All right, let me get all my screens situated here. All right, got all my volume up. Got all my stat pages up. Let's go, baby. And let me know what you want to be able to see for photos. Odin, you want Riley Leonard? Is that who you're looking at wanting? Or do you have someone else that you have in mind that you want to showcase here before we get into kickoff? Yeah, and Georgia's going to play hard, and I think a majority of America, if you're an underdog kind of guy, you're rooting for Notre Dame, and a lot of us would love to see Notre Dame be able to get to this point and be in the Final Four in this tourney. If you're a Georgia fan, you're just trying to hang on to greatness. And again, the defense isn't as good as they have traditionally been, but that doesn't mean they can't beat Notre Dame. That doesn't mean they can't beat Penn State. And that doesn't mean that Georgia can't make it to the Natty against Texas or Ohio State. I think a lot of people are assuming that they will, but you can't overestimate Penn State from the Big Ten or an independent school like Notre Dame. Can't wait to see what we get here, and go Irish. Let's go. I'm going to get a couple Riley Leonards up here. And we'll get you your Notre Dame little movable logo as well. It's quite a comparison, giving a lot of praise if you're going to go Baker. Let's go, baby. Yeah, they look good out there, man. Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price. We got to get Jeremiah Love on the screen for you. Yeah, been a long time since they won it all. 1988, back with Lou Holtz, back in that Tim Brown era. But that doesn't mean that they can't shock the world here today and shock the world against Penn State and make it to the Natty against Ohio State or Texas. It's definitely doable. You know, you're here. You're not eliminated like Oregon. So as long as you're still in it now, anything is possible. Let's go, baby. Georgia Bulldogs about to come out here. Trying to win 3 out of the last 4, but it doesn't really feel like it's going to be this year's team. Isn't as strong, but you never know. Crazier things have happened, but we'll see if the backup Gunnar Stockton can lead this team to a victory. And honestly, the way that Carson Beck has played this year, I think they actually have a better chance winning the game with this quarterback, the backup Gunnar Stockton, than they do with Carson Beck. I don't think Beck is like terrible. We've obviously seen him have some pretty amazing success here at Georgia, but for whatever reason this year, he just didn't really look like the same player that we have seen in previous years. So I think that Gunnar Stockton is a little bit more mobile with his legs. And if Georgia ends up winning this game, it might be because of this guy right here, as well as the offensive line and the defense. Can't forget about ETN as well. Obviously, one brother in the NFL, one transferring from Florida, now here on the, obviously, Georgia Bulldogs. So we're going to see what we're going to get out of him as well. But I kind of feel, for the most part, a lot of people are going to be rooting for, the Irish to do kind of the unthinkable. We always know that they have a good team, season in, season out. But this team seems a little bit different, and maybe you'll be able to take advantage of some of Georgia's woes. But again, as we know, Georgia can turn it on like a light switch, where they might look mediocre on defense for a few drives, and then all of a sudden they'll get back-to-back sack lunches, or a sack lunch, a punch out, maybe a recovery, maybe not, and then end up getting a pick six. So, they definitely are going to fly around, and they're going to make big plays in flurries. So we'll see, how the offensive lines stack up. But really, the deciding factor, O-line, D-line, defense, coaching, play calling, and then whoever wins the line of scrimmage is going to win this game here today. Stand with Ukraine in the building. What's good? Odin in the building. What's good? Cole in the building. What's good? But obviously teams that have, extended time off haven't been able to win. And you have to credit, Ohio State with a great game plan, against Oregon. But just like in the MLB playoffs, if you end up making, the 1 seed, or, you end up having a bye and you have extended time to rest, 1 week to 1 month, you're going to be rusty and you're going to be raw. And that's exactly what we saw, out of Oregon. It was probably the worst first half that I've ever seen, out of the Oregon Ducks, out of a team that we felt that could definitely get to the Natty, maybe not win it, but definitely, being 13-0, the only undefeated team in college football. We won the Big Ten against Penn State in our very first year in the Big Ten championship. But it shows you, with so many quality teams in the college football playoff, the committee definitely wanted Ohio State, Oregon for ratings. We should have, probably got a different opponent, or, things should have been, kind of bracketed out a little bit differently. But again, Coulda, woulda, shoulda. If you want to be the best in college football, and Oregon had the hardest path, that's what it's going to take. Beating Ohio State, right? Beating Texas, and then either beating Penn State, Georgia, or Notre Dame. No one ever said it's going to be easy. It's not just 4 teams. And it shows you if you lose in the regular season, that's fine. But winning in the playoffs, that's everything. And even though we were able to go undefeated, going into that game and, having them drop 34, right out of the gates in the first half, there was no coming back. And again, I want to feel that I was, a little bit more devastated. But honestly, I'm going to be 100% real. I was more devastated last year when we lost to the Huskies twice by 3 because we actually felt like we had a chance, to win those games. Yesterday didn't really piss me off. I didn't really get sad or angry. It was kind of just shocking to have a team play so poorly, in the first half. Not what we're accustomed to, but, you best believe we'll be back. And I'm not one of those bandwagon fans that, is going to, burn the jersey or never wear the gear. As you can see, I got the DeAnthony Thomas custom jersey on. I'm still going to be repping. I got the Dylan Gabriel hoodie underneath. And I'm go Ducks till I die. Let's go, baby. Notre Dame, Georgia. We're about to kick off, baby. Let's go. All right, Notre Dame with the kickoff. Bulldogs with the ball first here in the All-State Sugar Bowl. Yeah, very disappointing. I don't think that's not good for college football, when a team goes off like that. And it's not like we don't have an offense or a defense. And, just to get punched in the mouth so early in 2 quarters and have the game essentially be over, not a lot of fun for us here, in Oregon. But I'm definitely going to be enjoying the rest of the college football playoff. And again, I'm going to treat every game as if Oregon was playing. Love it. All right, here we go. Georgia with the ball first here in the All-State Sugar Bowl. So we got the trophy and obviously the logo there in the corner and whatever a logo that we have in the top right, spinning Georgia logo, Fighting Irish jumping logo. That'll determine who has the ball at the very moment. Georgia, Gunnar Stockton hands off to ETN. Good defense by Notre Dame. Notre Dame is very fast. They fly around out there. Don't you forget it. Loss of 2. Second down and 12 on the Georgia 23. And that's one thing that you're going to notice out of Notre Dame. Defensively, they usually are known for being pretty solid in that department, as well as bringing in some pretty good offensive linemen. And obviously, skill position players have been pretty good as of late. Just ask the Rams and Kyron Williams. Stockton, nowhere to go. Another great defensive play by the Fighting Irish defense. Oh, baby. Third down and 12. And this is exactly what you wanted to see if you're a Notre Dame Fighting Irish fan. You don't want to see Georgia getting big chunk gains like Ohio State did to Oregon. You want to try to get a 3-and-out, loss of yards, tackles for loss, sack lunches, pressure on the backup quarterback. And so far, so good. Shotgun set. Stockton going long, going deep, got a man, and complete. And late flag comes in. That's pretty, that's a minimal contact there, for them to call that. I don't know if this is going to be kind of a touchy game where just a little bit of grabbing and a little bit of holding is going to be called. But if they're going to call that, they better call it like that on both sides. You better call that on Georgia as well. If they do the same exact thing, we're going to have to keep an eye on that. First down and 10. Oh, little reverse. Where you going? Nowhere. Good defense by the Irish. Big loss there. 5-yard loss. Gunner Stockton run for 6 yards, 3rd down and 9 at the Georgia 39. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to a good number here early so we can hit the algorithm like we did yesterday. Watts with that nice tackle. One more like to get to 10. 11 more to hit the goal in the first hour. Now we're at 11. 9 more to go to hit 20. Let's get there, baby. Appreciate you. And we're at 20 on the dono train because of Odin's son. Go Irish. And we got 80 to go. Let's go, baby. 3rd down and long. Trips left. Irish. Showing blitz. Then they back out into a zone. Late blitz coming. And got him. Went out of bounds. But again, the Irish have that patience where they can only rush 3 or 4, still get to the quarterback. But if you notice there, nice awareness, by the linebacking core as well as the D-line, noticing if they need to, go back and do a little bit of a zone. And then eventually when they feel that quarterback, is kind of losing his composure, that's when you attack like a missile and go for the quarterback right there. And the backup was blasted. Great defense and a great start from the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I wish Oregon was able to do that against Ohio State yesterday. Fantastic job. Now they have a review. Yeah, that looked like a fumble. Great awareness by the Fighting Irish. And again, if they end up winning this game, it's going to be because of their O-line and their defense, but specifically O-line and D-line play. If you can make them uncomfortable with a backup quarterback, even though I like him more than Carson Beck this year, they got ETN. We know his brother obviously is in the NFL. Trevor here on Georgia transferred from the Florida Gators. We know that he can get in the end zone once or twice, but I think honestly Jeremiah Love to me is better. I think that guy, can hurdle. He's got a little bit more speed. I think both are really, really good running backs. But if I had to choose one or the other, I might be leaning towards the Irish with Love rather than ETN. ETN is a name because his obviously brother's in the NFL for the Jacksonville Jags. He is solid, obviously from the Gators to the Bulldogs. But based on what I've watched this season, I think I like Jeremiah Love just a little bit more. Sarah in the building. What's good? Hope work is going well, and obviously a lot of us are going to be rooting for the underdog, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, not just because that's Odin's son's, favorite team, but it's kind of nice to be able to have underdogs once in a while achieve some greatness, especially when we've seen the same teams, Ohio State, Michigan, Bama, Georgia, all over and over and over again. And we know Alabama scaled back, Saban retiring. Michigan lost Harbaugh, but finished strong against Ohio State and Bama in the bowl game. So I'm happy that Michigan was able to do that. And like I said, and unfortunately for Oregon, we weren't able to put it together. But again, it shows you, how important coaching is. It shows you that if you have extended time off, you're at a disadvantage. In this particular format, just like in the MLB format as well. If you have a week to a month off compared to a team that's playing every week, no matter how good you are, as you have seen, Oregon being the number 1 team for almost half the season, we weren't, really our normal selves. We got punched in the mouth early. And yes, we know Jeremiah Smith is the best receiver, maybe in the game. Obviously, Ryan Williams is very, very good for Alabama. Travis Hunter, amazing. There's a lot of guys there. But again, it was the scheme of Ryan Day and Chip Kelly. And again, O-line played bad. D-line played bad. Secondary played bad. And if those 3 things happen, you're not going to be able to beat a team like the Buckeyes. But, for the Ducks' credit, they only gave up 7 in the second half. But you can't give up 34 in the first and think that you're going to win. So congratulations to the Buckeyes to advance against the Texas Longhorns. That one could go either way. looking forward to that one. Wish Oregon was in it, but it is what it is. Again, I'm always going to rep my team no matter what, and it'll really separate the bandwagon Oregon fans and the diehard. Of course, anyone can wear their jersey or wear their gear when your team is winning, but how about when your team gets embarrassed and loses in a fashion that we did? Notre Dame with the fair catch there on the punt and a flag on the play. But even late last night, with my Oregon Duck, green apple sweats and my, raincoat and everything all dripped in green and yellow. Again, like I said, it didn't really hurt me as bad as last year's losses to the Huskies by 3 each. I felt like those kind of affected me a little bit more rather than that one, just because we got punched in the mouth early and you just knew that we lost already. There was no chance to come back. You had wishful thinking, getting touchdowns and going for 2, but what's the reality of us, getting all of those things to happen and then having them collapse in the second half? Not likely. And, the best team won. But remember, most college coaches, it takes longer than 6 years before you typically win a natty, to get your recruiting classes in. So if you look at Kirby Smart, you look at Harbaugh, you look at Nick Saban, it took a lot of these guys many, many years, usually 6 to 8 years before you win your first natty. Dan Lanning is on year number 3. So, again, we're getting better and better and better. And hopefully we'll end up getting some better recruits. Coaching can be a little bit better. And it shows you how hard, this college football playoff is going to be, even if you are the only undefeated team and you're 13-0 and you win the Big Ten in your first year. Sometimes that's just not enough, in games like this. So, Megan in the building. What's good? 4th down and long. Yeah, just 5 yards. You're good. A nice little shift here by Notre Dame. And then another shift. Trying to cause some confusion for Georgia. Oh, he almost blocked it. And then another flag. Wow, so many flags. It's a flag party. I mean, you don't usually see that many flags when they're trying to, obviously they're going for the block and whatnot, but it's not like Notre Dame is doing anything malicious. They're just trying to get, the block and go after the ball. And, we know that punters like to flop a lot like LeBron. So regardless if they get touched or not, they go down like they got shot every time. So. All right, penalties decline, first down. Let's go. Let's get this going, baby. And if I'm Notre Dame, I'm going to definitely make sure that I have a well-balanced offense. Make sure you're pounding the rock. You can trust your offensive line, even though the defensive line and the defense have some studs on the other side that may be going to the NFL and playing on Sundays. But trust your O-line and pound the rock. That'll open up the passing game for Riley Leonard and make it a little bit easier on him, especially when you got a stud like Jeremiah Love. Don't be surprised if he goes off for a big tutty here today. And he might end up getting even more than one if we're lucky. There's still going to be a little bit of jitters, so. Man in motion, shotgun set, Leonard. And pump fake. Incomplete. Jeremiah Love, the intended running back. And again, you have to respect Georgia's defense. Another flag on the play. It's a flag party. Again, even though Georgia's defense statistically isn't as good as the previous years, they're still the Georgia Bulldogs. They still have Kirby Smart, and they still have a lot of defensive players that are going to be going to the NFL on that roster, not only this year, but in the next few years. Second down. Double pass, baby. Well, good awareness to get the ball back into his hands and whatnot. So they should have blew it dead there, but, continuation of the play. Hope you feel a little bit better, Megan. Jeremiah Love of a loss of 4, but you can't go away from that. That's going to be the guy that potentially could win the game for you. So make sure that you don't go away from him. Georgia's defense is going to have some, tackles for loss and some time blitzes on Jeremiah Love, just like Notre Dame on ETN. They're down and long. Pass incomplete to Williams. 4th down and long. Another punt. Both defenses playing very, very good. And honestly, I know for a lot of people that love offense, they want to see offense like they saw with Ohio State and Oregon. But this is the type of game that I was kind of hoping for with the Buckeyes and the Ducks, where both of our defenses played well, and it was going to be a little bit of a power struggle early on, and then the points would come. But again, you got to respect both of the defenses. Defenses win games. Defense wins championships. All right, Bulldogs, your turn. .53-yard punt for Notre Dame. 10:41 left here in the first quarter. We're knotted up at 0. Gunnar Stockton, the backup. See what he can do here on his second drive. First down and 10 for Gunnar Stockton on his second drive. Man in motion. Hand off to ETN. Fighting Irish. Got about 5 of them there, but he keeps pumping his legs. And he gained about 3 extra yards, maybe 4, by just being aggressive with those legs. I see you. Second down and 4 on the Georgia 25. Shotgun set, time blitz by the Irish. He slips. One-on-one, out of position there for Notre Dame. Big gain, slips a tackle. First down, Bulldogs. Irish need to be a little bit more disciplined there. At any given moment, they could slip away for 6. A little bit of a push-off there by the Bulldog player as well. Oh, it did go out. Good. Hopefully they replay that. Stockton the bell, and then obviously they'll review that and put it at the right, obviously, place there towards the sideline. All right, they're going to do a little commercial break. Anything that you want to be able to see, Odin? For any Fighting Irish players, maybe on defense? You got anybody that you like on the defensive side? Knotted up at 0, 10:35 left in the first quarter. And we're under a little review, so we'll wait for the commercial to end, and we'll get back into the action. Definitely need to be able to, try to make Stockton uncomfortable, and we'll see if Notre Dame can punch the football out, get some sack lunches, tackle for losses, maybe a fumble or a pick at some point. But again, defense is definitely going to have to step up for both teams. But really, the key component for me is going to be the line of scrimmage. Who's going to win the O-line and the D-line battle will win this game. And if you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. We need a few more to be able to hit the goal. We need 8 more to hit 20, and we can hit the algorithm like we did yesterday. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Thank you so much for the individuals that just did. Now we're only 7 away from 20. Let's go. And then we're at 20 on the dono train, 80 to go to hit the goal. How's your leg? How are you feeling today? Probably as good as you're going to feel with the injury that you have, but prayers up to you, and I hope that you have a very healthy and a very speedy recovery. All right, Kirby Smart talking to the refs here. All right, first down and 10 on the 38 of Notre Dame. Stockton, hands off, ETN, and good defense there by the Fighting Irish. One-yard gain. Front 7 of Notre Dame, 6'3", 269. But look at the O-line for Georgia. My God, 6'5", 317. That's why, people say it's hard to compete with the SEC or the Big Ten, and you can see why. Their bodies are a lot bigger and sometimes more athletic. But again, Notre Dame can use their speed and their scheme to counteract that. Little screen there, short game. Third down. Third down and 7 on the Georgia 41. Stockton. First down, Bulldogs. A little slant there. Move the chains. Bell with the catch, 9-yard gain. First down and 10 on the 50. Nice throw by Gunnar Stockton there. Stockton. Another slant. Good wrap-up tackle there right by the marker. First down, Bulldogs. Move the chains. Handoff on second down and short. Offensive lineman pushes him forward. First down, Georgia. Move the chains. First down and 10 at the Notre Dame 35. We'll see what Mike Bobo has dialed in. Shotgun set. Gunnar Stockton. Just a little check down to ETN. Short game. Oh, Dylan Bell is in the medical tent? Uh-oh. Bell is a very important, cog in the wheel for the Bulldogs. Can they win without him? Yes, but it'll be much more difficult. I mean, we saw how Oregon ended up having players drop left and right. Jordan James, our starting running back, Evan Stewart, Tez. It's like if you have injuries, in this critical kind of game, it's really hard to keep up with the other team when you're missing your stars. Flag on the play. It's okay. Notre Dame will settle in. Lined up in the neutral zone. Self-inflicted wounds. Come on, Irish. Frazier run for 2 yards, 3rd down and 1. There you go. Bring him down. Big 3rd down here. You stop them here, you can hold to a field goal. If not, they're probably going to get 6. False start there on Georgia. Big false start to bring them back to 3rd down and 6 instead of 3rd down and 1. Big. False start on 69. Tate Ratledge. Come on, baby. ETN run for 7 yards. 1st down, Georgia. You got to limit the damage out of ETN. And that was kind of rare because normally Notre Dame isn't going to give up that much, especially in a sequence of needing only 5, 6, 7 yards. But again, it shows you what kind of runner ETN is. I mean, he's just like Jeremiah Love, hard to bring down. Good vision, good speed, hitting that hole, going north to south, not east to west, not bouncing around, dancing around, putting his foot down and getting that 1st down. Move the chains. ETN run for a yard down to the Notre Dame 24, 2nd down and 9. Gunnar Stockton pass complete to 11. Love it. 3rd down and 1. Got about 3 minutes left here in the 1st quarter. 3rd down and 1 at the Notre Dame 18. And obviously, if Notre Dame can hold to a field goal on this particular drive, which would be very key, defense is good enough to do it too. Man in motion. Shotgun set. Little throw to the outside, just short of the marker there to Love it. So far at this point, 6 for 6 for Gunnar Stockton. And for the Irish, again, they're going to have to be able to hold the field goals rather than touchdowns, and they're going to have to win the turnover battle here today as the underdog, even though on some Vegas lines they were favored by 1, 1.5, or 2. 3rd down and 2. ETN, fumble, Irish recover. Wow. Oh, my. What a hit. Irish ball. And at the moment that you felt like the game was, starting to, not get out of reach, but you could kind of feel that, the touchdown was imminent, right? But getting a helmet right on that football and having it blast forward, right, about 10 yards, 2 Irish go to dump on it. Osberry with the recovery. Big turnover by the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. That's exactly what they needed. Nice job, Notre Dame. Now let's get Jeremiah Love the ball. All right, Riley Leonard, it's your turn. What do you got cooking? Schuler and Osberry making that play there for the Irish and knocking that ball out. Better late than never, right? Right before they were about to get into the end zone. Nice job. I see you, Irish. Now we need plenty of Jeremiah Love and plenty of Riley Leonard. Let's go. All right, we need 5 more likes to be able to get to 20. If you're in the room and haven't done it yet, please do. 4 more to go. Thank you so much. Shout out to all the people that are in the room, have smashed the like button, or have newly subbed to the channel. We've been getting quite a few in the last few weeks, so thank you so much. Now we need 4 more to hit the goal, to hit 20, to hit the algorithm. Let's go, baby. First down and 10 on the Notre Dame 10, and hopefully they can get a couple consecutive first downs, lead the clock a little bit, and see if they can get into a little bit of rhythm with their offense. Let's go. At least 1 in all 12 wins. And obviously they didn't have any in their loss against NIU. I don't know how the hell they lost to them, but, that's what happens sometimes. You end up having a bad half like Oregon did. Unfortunately, it wasn't to NIU. It was to Ohio State. And it was in the playoff, not in the regular season. First down and 10, short game. Jeremiah Love with the carry. First quarter winding down. Second down and 7 for the Fighting Irish. Shotgun set. Riley Leonard. Little slant. There we go. Give Georgia a little bit of their own medicine. Do exactly what they did to you on the previous drive. First down, Irish. Move the chains. There you go. Man in motion, shotgun set, handoff, short game. Riley Leonard pass complete. Ooh, baby, I see you. Less than a minute to go. Now, hopefully we can beat the Canucks today. Well, flag on the play. Lots of flags in this game. Not like Ohio State, Oregon, where there was barely any. Self-inflicted wounds. False start. Got to clean up the false starts and the holds. Second down and 12. Leonard getting pressured, little check down, but Georgia's defense is way too fast for a play like that. Good defense by the Bulldogs. Bolden was there. Third down. Third down and long. Crossing routes and slants are going to be a quarterback's best friend in this game on both sides. End of the first quarter, 0-0 Notre Dame and Georgia. I wish that was the case for Ohio State, Oregon yesterday. But definitely a lot more defense in this game, and that's what I like. But again, the points will come, but every big turnover, every big tackle for loss is going to be magnified as the game goes on. And again, we will get both of these teams in the 20s. But again, I don't know if we're going to get them into the 30s with already one quarter off the books. Let's go, baby. Gunner Stockton, the backup, doing pretty good so far. You got to keep your eyes on Trevor Etienne as well. Let's go, baby. Yeah, definitely a good addition to the Kraken. You know, I kind of like, the players that we were able to bring in, Chandler Stevenson and a few others. So hopefully we'll be able to, find a rhythm at some point in the season. All right, we're knotted up here at 0 after the first quarter. Let's take a quick look at the box score. Obviously not a whole lot to go over, but let's just kind of see how the quarterbacks are looking so far. Riley Leonard, 2 for 3 with 15 yards, no tutties, no picks, obviously. And Gunner Stockton, the backup quarterback to Carson Beck, who came in after Beck got injured and was out for the year, ending up with a pretty magnificent start. 6 for 6, 43 yards. No tutties yet, but it kind of feels like at some point he will get one. And then Etienne on the ground, 6 carries, 19 yards. Jeremiah Love, 3 carries, 10 yards. It needs to be better. Was he on the trade block? Done? Riley Leonard pass complete to Jaden Harrison for 4 yards on 3rd down and 11, 4th down and 7 on the Notre Dame 30. And again, it shows you, even if Georgia's defense may not be as good as years past, they're still fucking very good. Like, there's no doubt about that. It's going to be difficult to beat a Georgia or a Texas team, at any given point. As long as Kirby Smart is there and Sarkisian is there for Texas, it's going to be not an easy path whatsoever. Notre Dame with the punt. Captain in the building. What's good, brother? Notre Dame with the punt. This has definitely been a defensive battle through and through. Some self-inflicted wounds, a lot of penalties, false starts and whatnot. But again, I think that they will settle in, and at least one of the teams knows that they're not eliminated, like Oregon in the first quarter yesterday. By the time it was halftime, the game was already over. So at least, it could go either way. There is no dominant, shellacking that you're getting early on. So still plenty of time for these teams to score before halftime. What's good, Captain? Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 20 so we can hit that algorithm like we did yesterday. 30 to 50 if we get the volume. And we're at 20 on the dono train, 80 to go. Are you going to be here for the rest of the stream, Captain, or no? First down and 10 at the Georgia 22. Yeah, he's playing well. Gunnar Stockton. He actually broke a lot of high school records, just like a lot of these quarterbacks do, whether it be in the hometown state there, obviously in Georgia. But again, I feel like, he's a better runner than Carson Beck, and I think they have a better chance to win. And then obviously you can always default, right, to Trevor Etienne, the transfer from the Florida Gators to the Georgia Bulldogs from a few years ago. And that he'll be able to give you the same type of results, just like this guy here on the opposite side, Jeremiah Love. He's a little under the weather, but at any given moment, Jeremiah Love can do one of these or one of these and be gone. So we saw that last week, and we'll see if we get it again here today. Okay, I was going to say, if you can help me out with keeping track of the likes on the stream and the donos, I'd really appreciate it. Since we don't really have a designated lead mod, it's just kind of a collective effort by the mods to help me out, so I appreciate that. 0-0 Notre Dame and Georgia. Yeah, and then tomorrow, it'll be obviously not as big of a game. You got Duke and Ole Miss that's going to be on in a couple hours after this. But obviously tomorrow they only have a couple matchups. They got North Texas and Texas State right at 1, and then Minnesota, Virginia Tech. And both of those teams aren't like the greatest, but again, there's really nothing else to do. So Duke's Mayo Bowl tomorrow, 4:30 ESPN, Minnesota and Virginia Tech. We're going to do that. And then we'll do the Bengals and Steelers on Saturday, Vikings and Lions on Sunday. And then we're going to do Monday Night Raw on Netflix on Monday. And that'll start to be a thing for us. So I'm really excited about doing Monday Night Raw as much as we can, almost every single Monday, on top of doing the PLE, the pay-per-view, once a month. And again, some of them have been, overseas at kind of weird times. Also, we've had some that have contradicted the Oregon Duck stream. So I apologize for all my wrestling fans that we haven't been able to do every single one last year. But I'm going to try like hell to do more this year. Floater going deep. He caught it. The 20, the 10, out of bounds. What a throw. What a catch. First down, Bulldogs. Gunnar Stockton, flag on the play. But again, I feel that he is a better quarterback at this year. For whatever reason, I don't really know why Carson Beck was kind of going backwards this year in his development, because obviously we know that he was good enough to win a natty, but it just felt like he wasn't the same player in years past. And I think that they'll have a better chance to win. If Beck was playing, I think that's a huge advantage for Notre Dame. I don't think Beck is terrible. Ooh, he takes a big fucking pop right there after the throw. My fucking God. Where they threw the flag for what, targeting? That was just a big fucking hit right there on the QB. All right, no worries. Take care. Hi, baby. Want to lay down? All right, Paisley's in here. 1 sec. I got to get a little bed area ready for her here. Come here, honey. Lay down, honey. Paisley's missing her daddy. Lay down, honey. Bell run for 1 yard. 3rd down and 7 at the Notre Dame 23. Good girl. There you go. Lay down. Good girl. Oh, that's yours. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down, honey. Throw to the sideline, incomplete. Yeah, but you got to think Notre Dame has a team that's better than they normally are. Georgia's team is a little worse than what they normally are. So that's what makes this matchup so intriguing. You know, Georgia isn't like, you know, leaps and bounds better than Notre Dame where they're going to lose by like 30. Like this one is pretty even. Like we thought Oregon, Ohio State was going to be even, but again, field goal is up by Peyton Woodring and good, 3-0 Georgia. But definitely the defenses came to play on both sides. Wish Oregon could have done the same yesterday. Their defense shit the bed, and nice to be able to see Notre Dame hold them to 3-0 Georgia. All right, Notre Dame, your turn. All right, let me tuck Paisley in here. She's trying to dig herself into the blankets here, so let me get her settled in. All right, got her a little blanket bed made. All right, I think she's good now. Really wet and rainy here in the Pacific Northwest. So we went on our first walk this morning, still repping the duck gear. And yeah, man, you know, hopefully we get a little bit better weather. But, you know, at this time of year in the Pacific Northwest, you know, sometimes we're going to have rain for, you know, 6, 7, 8 hours straight. And usually it'll be for a few days in a row. But, you know, occasionally we'll get some breaks. But hopefully after this game is over, we'll be able to not get poured on. But based on looking out the window, that probably isn't the case. Yeah. I mean, again, I'm a defensive-minded fan, so I don't, you know, mind this. Of course, you know, I like the big plays, the fumbles, the pick sixes, the fumbles for touchdowns, special teams touchdowns. And, again, it's just kind of like grind it out, feel each other out type of first half. A lot of self-inflicted wounds on both sides with false starts and holds and things of that nature. But the offenses will definitely open up, and we will get both teams into the 20s. And if we're lucky, we'll end up getting into the high 20s before the game ends, and it could end up being, you know, pretty competitive, like where we might end up getting a, 27-24 final, something of that nature. So don't be alarmed with a 3-0 score. At least you know that the game is still going to be interesting rather than Oregon being down fucking 34-0 and then knowing that the game is already over in the first or second quarter. So. Let's get those likes up, baby. Yeah, Milroe is kind of a Jekyll and Hyde because, again, if the offensive line isn't good, he looks like shit. But again, when he has time, there's been glimpses where he looks okay. I don't think he's going to be a very good NFL quarterback, though. Just like Dylan Gabriel, he didn't really have any fuck-ups yesterday. The offensive line didn't play well. D-line didn't play well. Secondary didn't play well. But again, it's like, there's only a few guys. I'm not really a believer in Shedeur Sanders either. I like Cam Ward. I like what I see from him, and I like Quinn Ewers, and that's about it, as far as like development of the quarterbacks. And we'll see if, Quinn Ewers is probably going to transfer. There's like a $5 or $6 million NIL deal available for him. So he might be able to get $10 million or $5 million, $6 million, in 1 year. And again, if Arch Manning is the quarterback for Texas next year, Quinn Ewers may go back to Ohio State. And imagine if Ohio State wins it all, or if they don't and they lose to Texas, and then all of a sudden Quinn Ewers goes back and then they win with him. So no guarantees that Ewers goes to the NFL. He might go back, to Ohio State. Maybe he goes to Oregon, maybe Michigan. Who knows? But I know there's a lot of money available for him if he wants it. It just depends on if he wants to go pro or if he wants to try to, win a natty. First time trailing since October 19th against Georgia Tech. Kind of a soft schedule for Notre Dame, but they have proven that they can hang, even though their one loss was to NIU. But they've had a turnover in every game this season, which has led them to a 12-1 record. But I don't think they're fugazi like Indiana, where they didn't really play anybody. Notre Dame is independent, and if they were in the Big Ten, I think they would do very, very well. I think they would finish in the top 3, top 4 every year. They have a storied program, and that is evident. Second down and 3 for Riley Leonard. That last pass was complete to Jordan Faison. Draw for Riley Leonard. First down, Irish. $11 left here in the second quarter. First down and 10 on the college football playoff quarterfinal, All-State Sugar Bowl. Georgia 3, Notre Dame 0. It's been a defensive battle, baby. Handoff and getting tripped up. And it's like, both quarterbacks have the ability to make big, big plays. Riley Leonard, 32-yard run. First down, Irish. That's what we wanted. And again, that might be the X factor there, right? That we know that both quarterbacks, at times can show flashes that they can run, even though they're going to try to stay in the pocket as much as they possibly can. But again, if the Irish are going to win, it's going to have to be on the O-line and the D-line. But Riley Leonard and Jeremiah Love are going to have to do some magic. And look at this design run right up the gut. Look at Riley Leonard. Woo! Running past a bunch of Georgia players. He said, "Get off of me." First down, Irish. Must be the luck of the Irish. Move the chains. Yeah, it shows you if you end up having bye weeks, you're at a huge disadvantage. Just like you're at a huge disadvantage in the college football playoff, playing on the road. If you're at home in the first round, you win, right? But if you're on the road, you lose. And again, if you have too much time off, a week to a month off, you're going to be rusty, just like in the MLB. So on the NFL side, it doesn't hurt like the Chiefs as a 1 seed. Obviously they'll be fine, right? But in this college football playoff format in the MLB, extra time off means less rhythm, and continuity and chemistry and rhythm and, keeping things into motion. Face mask obviously was missed there. Like you mentioned, they should have called that. Cole with $1. Appreciate you. Every dollar counts. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks, little Cactus Jack, bang, bang. Let me know what you want to do for a photo. And I got you. We're at 21. 79 to go. keep using Riley Leonard as a weapon with his legs, because, again, that might be the X factor in this particular game. Leonard. Incomplete. Good defense there by the Bulldogs. Riley Leonard pass complete to Jaden Greathouse for no gain. 4th down and 7 on the Georgia 26. And I appreciate you, Captain, helping out, because, again, I need at least one, of the mods to help out. If we get more than one mod to help out on every stream, it's always helpful, to be able to keep things in line for, likes and subs and donos and shares. And we've been gaining quite a few subs as of late. We're getting closer to that 20,700 number. Good defense there. Field goal is up and good. It's a field goal party. 3-3. We're knotted up. Almost the complete opposite of what we saw with Ohio State and Oregon, but I'm not mad at it. I know the points are going to come. And again, every football game is going to be built differently. Both of these teams are built on their defenses. Offenses have the ability to shine with their quarterbacks and running backs. And again, an occasional wide receiver or tight end will make a big play, but it's going to be one in the trenches. And again, you just want to be the team that has less self-inflicted wounds, false start, hold, etc. I got you. Good choice. And even though the Blazers and the Kraken are having, some rough patches, to say the least, this year I still go out of my way to watch these teams compete pretty often. So, I mean, nobody likes watching their favorite teams and players struggle, but, I've never been a bandwagon guy in my life, so you got to stick with your teams no matter how good they are or how bad they are. And eventually, things will get better as the years go on. He looks good in the uniform. It looks like he's wore that uniform his whole time. And again, very icy jersey. I love the blue. The shade of the Kraken blue is beautiful. One of these days, I'll end up getting a Kraken jersey for myself. Probably this type of jersey, this color, this scheme. Very swaggy with the white. Appreciate you. Yeah, again, very versatile, a good skater, obviously can assist, obviously, someone that you can count on once in a while to be able to put yourself in a position in a power play or score goals. Just getting another piece that might be a good fit. And obviously, if you're not getting along, with your former team, with the Rangers, and again, you have beef with the coach and whatnot or other players, sometimes a change of scenery is good for everyone. So we'll take it. I don't got any extra money, for any jerseys, but obviously getting, my first Kraken jersey, at some point, obviously would be something I would be looking forward to. And, it's not like I'm going to be buying any Blazer jerseys, anytime soon. But if I were, it would be like a Shaden Sharp or a Donovan Clingan if I was going to get one. But, I got plenty of jerseys in the closet from the Blazers and the Mariners, Ducks, Buccaneers. And actually, if I was going to get one jersey, it would be Cal Raleigh. That's the jersey I need to get first before a Blazer or a Kraken or a Buck or a Duck jersey. It's got to be Cal Raleigh. That's next up, either City Connect, teal, I don't know, but I definitely need to get myself a Cal. And depending on where we are dono-wise, hopefully I'll be able to get one before we get into the MLB season in April. And hopefully I'll be able to rock that on the stream. So, because I would love to be able to get, more than one Cal, like a White or a City Connect or whatever. But again, there's other players that I would like. I mean, I got a bunch of Julios, I got a bunch of Griffies. I don't have an Ichiro yet. I don't have a Randy Johnson yet. I would love to add those. I don't have an Edgar yet either. I would love to add those to the collection. But as much as I love Ichiro and Randy as Hall of Famers, if I was going to go for a recent player, definitely it would be Cal. But I'll tell you a player that deserves to have his jersey bought, that probably won't have too many, but definitely was our best hitter last year, Victor Robles. That guy is a stud, and hopefully he stays on our team for a long time. First down and 10 for the Georgia Bulldogs. Oh, it's 12 noon. You know what time it is? Time for a sack lunch. Yum, 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 yum. Talia Maka, baby. Yeah, I don't know how many I got in the closet, but pretty close to that 15 to 20 range. But again, I was at a point back in the day where I was getting like one a year. Oh, nice little slant crossing route. First down, Bulldogs. Move the chains. Oscar Delp with 22-yard gain to the Georgia 38. That was a big play. Hopefully Watts is okay. They're going to need him. We got Duke and Ole Miss on after this, which will interest some of y'all, but not all of y'all. And then obviously tomorrow we'll be jumping in to another, it's one of the last lower bowl games that is left. We got North Texas and Texas State, Minnesota and Virginia Tech that we're going to do tomorrow at 4:30 Pacific. Saturday it's Buffalo and Liberty. And then you get Monday North Dakota State, Montana State for the FCS championship. And then it's pretty much just the college football playoff the rest of the way. So we're really counting down the last few games of the college football season. And then we'll be getting into the NFL playoffs, which will be great. And then once that's over, we'll transition into NASCAR starting in February, baseball in April. And then when we're in March, we'll do March Madness. And then at some point in March, we may sprinkle in an NBA or an NHL or a college basketball stream, at that time period, especially during March Madness. We'll be doing some of those games. So we're going to be locked and loaded. NFL playoffs, right? College football playoffs, transitioning then into March Madness, NASCAR, and then obviously the MLB. And my goal is to do 150 plus out of the 162 games for the Mariners. Everyone knows me for the Ducks and the Mariners, and I want to continue to make it that way. And again, you just have to put in a lot of effort and work. And the other thing I'm super excited about is Monday Night Raw on Netflix. And we're going to start doing streams. Now, when it's football season, we may have to do Monday Night, football over Monday Night Raw, depending on the matchup. But if the matchup is stinky, we could always just do Monday Night Raw, and then we could have the game in the background, and I can watch both. But we can use the stream for the platform to do wrestling. So, I usually do, WWE PLE once a month. But if we have Raw on Netflix where we can all watch it together, as long as it doesn't crash, that could be another fun thing to add to the stream. Because I know there's a lot of hardcore wrestling fans like myself. I've been watching, like a thoroughbred, since '85, and I will never stop watching. Yeah, I mean, they're both playing pretty conservative. Obviously the defenses are pretty good on both sides. Teams are trying to have balanced offenses. They're not trying to go one-dimensional, and that's why you haven't seen Notre Dame or Georgia throw it as much. They're trying to establish the run game, and they have good running backs on both sides. Jeremiah Love for Notre Dame, and then you got ETN, Trevor there for the Bulldogs. Oh, F1 starts in March. Nice. Man in motion. We got a 3-3 game, a defensive battle here. Big defensive stop there by Notre Dame. Pass incomplete to Lovett. 4th down and 3 at the Georgia 45. We're at 21, 79 to go. Fantastic defense by the Fighting Irish. They ran trips left right there, and the coverage was blanketed. That was very, very good defense by Clark. They had a hat on a hat, and then you can see the little soft zone right there. But Clark, he was all over him. All right, Georgia with the punt. All right, Notre Dame. This is your opportunity to try to get a touchdown before halftime, at the very least, to try to get a field goal to take the lead. But, again, the big plays are going to open up. The defenses are going to get tired, in the second half. But they've been very disciplined on both sides up to this point. Besides, the offenses have had some bugaboos with some flags. But other than that, it's been a defensive gem. Damn, can you guys believe it? It's 2025 already. Man, this is crazy how time flies so fast. Like, well, for me, I stream pretty much every day, so it's like I don't really have a whole lot of days off typically. I mean, I think the most days off I'll have in a week is maybe 3 if there's nothing going on, but I typically like to work 6 or 7 days a week, but I don't want to burn out, but I like being able to work hard and grind, and kind of the days blend together, but just crazy to think how fast 2024 went. First down and 10 for Riley Leonard. Pressure off the edge. Good chip block there to get that catch off. First down, Irish. Here we go. I feel pretty good on this drive right here. If you run some slants and some crossing routes, and if the offensive line can chip these defensive ends off the, obviously off this blindside pressure, that's going to give Riley Leonard enough oomph and time to be able to get the football to his receivers and tight ends right there. Because if he didn't get a chip, on that defensive end, that would have been a big sack lunch and possibly a turnover. Great job by Notre Dame's offensive line and running backs for picking up the blitz there. Less than 5 minutes to go in the second quarter. 3-3, first down and 10. Irish handoff up the middle, trying to keep a well-balanced offense there. Short game. Second half, Notre Dame gets the ball. Georgia got the ball first, and they were driving, I believe, and Notre Dame knocked it out. Odin will be able to remember, but I'm pretty sure Georgia ended up getting the ball first. But I could be wrong, Games go by so quickly. But I think Notre Dame gets it in the second half. Short game. So, if Notre Dame can get a score here and then get the ball back and score again, that's really going to put the pressure on Georgia. Even if it ends up being just field goals, just making it 9-3, putting the pressure on. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but yeah, Irish get it. Georgia got it in the beginning, and then they had a big turnover when they were about to score and got a helmet on the ball and knocked it out. Third down and 3. Leonard scrambling, gambling, and complete. Leonard pass complete to Faison. 13 yards, first down, Irish. There we go. Jeremiah Love, run for 2 yards. Keep moving the chains, baby. 2nd down and 8 on the Notre Dame 38. It feels like the momentum is starting to, get a little bit acclimated here for the Irish, but just not enough to be able to get the first down. I thought they were going to have a chance, but 4th down and 3, and here's the punt. I was hoping the Irish was going to be able to move the football for a couple more consecutive first downs, but not so fast. Defenses are very disciplined on both sides of the ball, as you can see. And, they're both going to have to air it out in the second half at some point, whether it ends up being a big catch or a PI. But you're going to want to be able to keep the defense honest and spread them out a little bit. They've definitely done a good job, trying to be able to keep the balanced offense, but the defenses have been too stout. So you're not really getting that big Jeremiah Love 50-yard run down the sideline for a tutty, and you're not getting the ETN 50-yard run down the sideline for a tutty like we're accustomed to. But we may get that in the second half. But give kudos to the defense on both sides. Time blitzes and good pickups on both. Down the sideline and complete. Good coverage by the secondary on both teams as well. I wish Oregon could play good in the secondary like what we're seeing here today. Yeah. Well, you got to think Notre Dame's team is a little bit better than normal, right? With their defense flying around and with their running back, even though they had Kyron Williams, previously, right? And now they got Jeremiah Love and a few others. Floater and complete. But Georgia's defense, obviously still very, very good. But if you look at player for player, compared to past Georgia teams, where it was like, oh my God, these guys have like 50 NFL players. Nobody's got a shot. Even Alabama, it's like you knew Bama wasn't going to keep up. Ohio State, Michigan, like they were the dogs. They were the best. Like this year's team, they're still good, but there's definitely some weaknesses and then some holes in the offense and the defense. But they still may be good enough to advance. But the Irish are going to try to give them everything they got. And complete. 4th down and 10, and another punt. It's a punt party. But remember also, too, it's not about, how you're playing in the first part of the year. It's about who's hot and healthy at this time of the year. And if you're playing your best ball right now, just like Michigan, they might have, not been very good in the regular season, but they finished the season the strongest out of any team that didn't go to a major bowl game, right? Now, people talked about, we should have had Miami. We should have had Alabama. No, we should have had fucking Michigan. Even though they had an insane amount of losses, they played the best football out of any team that had 3, 4, 5 losses. They looked strong. They beat Ohio State, and then they definitely manhandled Alabama as well. Good for their coaching staff over there for the Wolverines. All right, we're still knotted up here at 3, 2:55 left in the second quarter. Let's go, baby. Shout out to my boy Marcos Pineda, the only one in Oregon that will support me and, share the streams. And, regardless if he's at home or at work, always showing love. Appreciate you, Marcos, my guy. Little short game. 2 more likes for 20. Let's get there, baby. And I know the timing is a little early. I know if this game was on at 5 p.m. Pacific, it would have got a lot more views and ratings and whatnot. But, maybe not the same kind of ratings as Oregon-Ohio State as being one of the best games going into the game, people thought, even though it ended up being a blowout. But we'll see if we get a few more people in the second half as, people are getting settled in from work and whatnot. Leonard, little slant. just short of the marker. Great House, the sophomore, with the catch, 3rd down and 1. Some little Notre Dame baddies there in the front row. Lacrosse champion. You're getting some diversity with some of these athletes out there. Football and lacrosse. I see you. 3rd down and 1. And a timeout is called. And for either one of these teams, it's not going to be easy going against, Penn State. And then obviously you got Texas and Ohio State. And it kind of makes you feel that whoever wins between Texas and Ohio State is going to win it all. No disrespect to Georgia, no disrespect to Notre Dame, and no disrespect to Penn State. But it just feels like right now those are the 2 best teams that are left. And it would take a miracle for Penn State, Notre Dame, or Georgia to win. Like I said, I don't think it would be a blowout by any means, but based on what we've seen up to this point, the teams in the bottom bracket aren't on the same level as the top, but anything can happen in college football, right? We thought Oregon and Ohio State would be close. Buckeyes beat us by fucking 20. Any scenario could happen, so. .230 left in the second quarter, 3-3 Notre Dame and Georgia. First down and 10 on the Georgia 39. Almost a complete opposite from that Ohio State-Oregon matchup, where it was all offense, no defense. And then this game is all defense, minimal offense, but it will get, spicier in the second half. And there's still an opportunity with 2 minutes here for Notre Dame to take the lead before half, which I think they will. And it doesn't help that Jeremiah Love is kind of under the weather and whatnot. He's been under the weather since that Indiana game, but hopefully, he'll be able to, fight it out and find a way to be able to hit pay dirt. Go, baby. Go, baby. Go, Riley. And Riley diving for that marker. First down, Irish. And Riley Leonard, in certain games earlier in the year, he looked a little flat-footed and a little slower in the pocket. Today, he actually looks like a running quarterback, where he actually looks a lot faster than some of the games that he did earlier in the year. Breaks that tackle, diving for the first down, good awareness, good speed for his size today. Leonard going deep. Back shoulder, incomplete. Maybe they're going to have to use Riley Leonard as a weapon, as a runner to get in the end zone. I mean, I know you got a couple capable running backs, but again, if they're not going to have a QB spy on Leonard, you have to be able to abuse them, take advantage. If they're not going to, if they're not going to respect your abilities, sometimes you got to go and pivot your game plan. And instead of going to Love, maybe more design quarterback runs for Riley Leonard. He looks good. Shotgun set. Leonard. There we go. Close to that first down marker, baby. Now, what you need is a fucking offensive line is what you need. Gino obviously puts up good numbers with that horrible O-line. Imagine what his numbers would be like if you had a good O-line. It's just that the fan base is too stupid to realize it. Not you, but others. 12 noon, you know what time it is? Time for a snack lunch? Yum, 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 yum. It's like people trying to say that, Stein needs to go for Oregon. Again, if your offensive line or your defensive line or your secondary doesn't play well, that's not going to be on just the offensive coordinator. People get the blame, but a lot of times in football, people put the blame on the wrong person or wrong position group. I mean, when Gino does good, they want to blame somebody else, blame the coach, blame the OC, blame everyone. But when he does bad, it's all get rid of him, get rid of the coach, get rid of the OC. It's like, how about improve the offensive line and the defense, and then things will be just fine. O-line, D-line, defense, coaching, play calling. If you got the second worst offensive line in football, like, what do you expect? And then when he actually plays good, the Hawk fan base doesn't even give him credit. You have to realize how hard it would be to get 300 yards, 2, 3, 4 touchdowns in a game, as a bad offensive line. People need to give more kudos instead of just blaming all the time. But again, everyone that watches football, they don't watch the same thing. There's going to be some people that understand the game a little bit better than others. You build the O-line, and all those people, that said, we need to get rid of another, get rid of Gino, get another quarterback. He would be able to put up 3, 4, 5,000 yards passing, if you had a great O-line, bunch of touchdowns, not a lot of picks. But again, if you don't got a good offensive line, you're going to look shaky at times and sometimes terrible. Leonard, there we go. Second down and 21, just trying to get back some of that yardage there, about half. But it also shows you skill position players are overrated. Quarterback, running back, wide receivers, tight end, overrated. It's much better to have a great offensive line, and then, the rest of the players will fall suit, Same thing with the defense. You got to have the D-line. You got to have pressure on the line of scrimmage. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end are some of the most overrated positions in football. It's like Ferraris and Lambos. They look shiny and great, but they're not going anywhere without the gas, which would be the O-line. Penalty is declined. Well, there's plenty of good offensive linemen that are going to be coming out of the draft. The problem is that Seattle doesn't have good evaluators of the offensive line position. But in the Carroll era, they were terrible. Like, if you go back and look at the last 15 to 20 years, they missed on a lot of their picks. And then, they could have ended up building, better pieces like Creed Humphrey, not getting rid of Max Unger. But again, some, teams know how to draft, and some teams know how to evaluate, and some don't. Some are better at different position groups. Just because you like a guy doesn't mean that he's going to pan out, Fourth down and 11 for the Irish. But again, if you had better evaluators on the line, you guys would be in a much better position today. After the Legion of Boom era, you guys had some of the worst evaluators on the O-line I've ever seen. Not to be a hater, but just being honest. And you know that too. Go look at the names on all the offensive linemen that have been picked for the Hawks the last 20 years and how many are still with the team or that were good. Not very many. But hopefully with this McDonald era captain that it'll change. And, we've already seen some improvement on the defense with Leonard Williams and company, but you're going to need more, right? Byron Murphy, Leonard Williams, that was a good start. But, more linebackers, more secondary, more D-line, more depth. And then, and obviously the whole offensive line needs to be blown up and retooled. Field goal is up and good. 6-3 Notre Dame. And you'll see, once you end up getting a great O-line, instead of worrying about, 9-8, 8-9, 10-7, that's when you'll take the leap of going to, 11, 12, 13 wins, when you end up having that solid O-line. Nice field goal there by the Irish. 37 seconds left for the Bulldogs. Yeah. But, the crazy thing is that, the quarterback wide receiver connection and the running back with Chase Brown has been great. But with that being said, if the Bengals get in, they could be like the Bills and try to outscore you. The Lions try to outscore you. The Bengals try to outscore you. So even if the defense is terrible, if you can find a way to score more, you can kind of hide the fact that your defense stinks, right? But sometimes when you play a team that has just enough, you lose, right? And, even if the offense is great, you need the defense to be able to make some stops. And as we've seen with the Bengals this year, sometimes they can't, But again, if Burrow can stay hot, and they get into the playoffs, I don't think any AFC team would want to play them, because they literally have a chance to beat anybody, because again, Burrow, Chase Brown, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins won't be on the team next year, so, sometimes, if the offense is top tier, you can get away with, not a defense at all, maybe for a little bit, but at some point it will catch up to you. Captain with a $5, but I guarantee if the Bengals get in, no one wants to fuck with them. That's a dangerous team right now. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks, little Cactus Jack, bang, bang. $5 holla. We're at 26, I believe. Let me know what you want to do for photos here at halftime, and I got you. And obviously the Bengals, kind of have the Chiefs number. I don't think the Bills would want to play them either. And we know the Chiefs and the Bills are the two best teams. Now, if the Bengals play the Steelers or the Ravens, those teams don't want to see that team either. Because again, when Burrow gets hot, and especially when he plays teams in the division, he plays pretty fucking well. So I don't know how it's all going to pan out, but we will be doing the Bengals-Steeler game on Saturday to see if the Bengals will have a chance to be able to get in. And most teams, that end up having a stat line of Burrow and Chase, I went back and looked, most of those teams, 12 noon, you know what time it is? Time for a sack lunch. Yum, 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 yum. Big turnover from the Irish right before halftime. Line side, sack lunch, and punch out. Boom. There we go. But big turnover. But normally when you have numbers like Burrow and Chase, the typical record is 11-6, 12-5, 13-4. Not, roughly 500 like they're at right now. So, what an amazing blindside sack lunch. Swipes at the arm. Obviously, the other offensive lineman not even paying attention. And then a great recovery. Touchdown, Irish. Leonard to Collins, 13 yards, and that's exactly what you want to do. You want to be able to threaten your position immediately after the turnover. The first play after a turnover, go to the end zone. And a lot of times if you do, you will score, maybe 80% of the time if the throw is accurate. And it shows you slants and crossing routes are working for both teams today. Let's go, Irish! Woo! Jordan Faison, 13-3 Notre Dame. Told y'all the points are going to come. But Notre Dame gets the ball in the second half as well. So this is looking very, very good for Odin, right? Up 13-3. You don't give up any more points. You go into the locker room happy, right? And then you get the ball back with a chance to get a 3 or a 6 to make it 16-3 or 20-3. And if it gets up to 20-3, the Irish are going to win. There's not going to be enough that Georgia's going to be able to do if it ends up being 20-3 and Notre Dame scores a touchdown right out of the third quarter. Now, if they get a field goal, Georgia will still be in it. Or if they end up getting a 3 and out, of course, they're still in it. But this is a real pivotal point of the game here. And nice job by the Irish. Great play calling, baby. But again, Georgia's offensive line usually doesn't give up, big sack lunches, on the edge, on the blind side. And then obviously the Georgia offensive linemen need to be a little bit more aware of where the football is. And, Notre Dame's defense is fast. Again, this Notre Dame team is better than normal. Georgia's team is a little bit worse than normal. Normally Georgia is the powerhouse. This year they're a good team, but they're not elite, in my opinion. Notre Dame is, a little bit better this year than their past teams, and it shows. Riley Leonard is playing like the best Notre Dame quarterback that we've seen in a long fucking time, running and throwing, right? We haven't even seen Jeremiah Love get in the end zone yet, and he's a stud running back. It just kind of feels like maybe this is a little bit too much for Georgia, just like Ohio State was a little bit too much for Oregon. And again, when you have time off, right, and you don't play, you lose. And we're about to see Georgia and Oregon lose with that, first round bye. And I don't like it. I don't like resting, and again, a huge advantage for the teams that had the first round at home and they kept playing. You keep the momentum going. These teams that end up getting the bye, it's not helping them. It's hurting them, obviously. It is halftime. 13-3 Notre Dame. What a great finish to the first half. And they get the ball back. Nice job. Oh, Odin is happy. Yeah, Georgia will make the adjustments in the second half. And remember, they do have a backup quarterback that's in the game, but Carson Beck didn't really look that great, this season compared to years past. Who knows if Carson Beck is playing if they have three or more. But again, Notre Dame is better this year, so we need to give them the respect. Georgia's not as good, so why are we giving them, all this extra love and respect if they're not as good as their past teams have been? Is it just because they're SEC in Georgia that the haters want to say that SEC are the best? And there's no question that they're better than the Big Ten or they're better than an independent team? Not so fast. We respect Texas and Georgia, but, you can't discredit Penn State or Ohio State or this team Notre Dame. Marcus Freeman looks like a player. He's so young looking. I know there was a lot of Notre Dame fans initially that didn't know, probably including Odin's son, is this the right guy for the job? But I think that after what you've seen from this year, you feel confident in recruiting and his abilities to be able to coach this team up the right way. But there is no doubts anymore, from the Notre Dame fan base or from the outside noise. This guy is a good fit for Notre Dame. And it's rare. Sometimes, you'll have to go through a couple guys. We knew Brian Kelly wasn't the guy, but again, you have who you have as a head coach, and this guy's much better and much more respected than Kelly. And he may not be a Lou Holtz just yet, but again, I like what I see out of him this year. Yeah, but apparently the SEC fans think that it still is. That it's still Georgia, it's still Texas, and if Georgia gets knocked off, then they're only going to have one team left, so... SEC fan bases seem to make a lot more excuses compared to Pac-12, Big Ten, Big 12. We're able to, give credit to the other teams and give credit where credit's due. But with the SEC fans, it seems like, a lot of times they want to point blame, cheating or something went wrong, and not really giving credit to the other team, some kind of bullshit excuse, and I don't like that. Give credit where credit needs to be given. 13-3 Notre Dame. Let's go. Putting up his ones. Tribal Chief. Yeah, well, they still have Texas, but again, that's another Big 12 transplant that they brought in, with Texas and Oklahoma. So. And hopefully next year, the number one seed, regardless if that's Oregon or someone else, hopefully they don't get the same thing, based off the draw. You shouldn't have to play the team that, might be the best team or second best team in that particular point. Hopefully they make the right adjustments to put the right teams in the right positions. But it seems like, obviously, if you're at home in the college football playoff, huge advantage. If you have a long extended, bye, you're at a disadvantage, and obviously having at neutral sites everywhere would help, but also the seating and the placement needs to be improved. Yeah, Texas, obviously, and Oklahoma has always been Big 12, but you could also say that about Oregon. We're a Pac-12 team going into the Big 10 and, having this success. But, Texas and Oregon are the real deal. You could tell once Michigan and, Bama lost their coaches, there were going to be a couple teams that were going to step up, and that was Texas and Oregon. And, some teams got an easier draw, and Oregon definitely got the hose. Having to have Ohio State in the first game is kind of ridiculous, but if you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. But in reality, Oregon should have matched up with someone like Boise State or Arizona State or like an Indiana in the first round. That's what it should have been. But even if we would have won that and then matched up against Ohio State in the next, like we did, maybe the same thing happens. Obviously they had a good game plan, and you got to give the Buckeyes credit. But again, I've never seen a one seed get not the right seeding. It's like, if you're number one, why do you have the hardest game on the schedule, like in the first round? Like, that shouldn't make, that doesn't make any sense, especially when other teams are getting like these gimmies, and Oregon's got to play a team that might end up being the champion in the first round. But we'll see. (13-3) Notre Dame. I need to go get a water. If you need to go get some snacks or whatever you need to do, go to the bathroom, do that. I'm going to grab some water and everything and get situated. I'll be back in about a minute or two. 13-3, Fighting Irish, baby. Let's go. All right, I'm back. Let's go, baby. Interesting, really. And hopefully halftime isn't going to last a crazy amount of time. And it seems like some of these bowl games, it's a little extended, but yeah, I mean, there was plenty of opportunities, missed field goals, the targeting call, but they played great. Scatterboo ended up getting the MVP of the game and whatnot, but, it's not like Arizona State is going to be the national college football champion. I mean, they could have won that particular matchup, but it's not like that team is good enough to win it all. So, I mean, I understand their frustration, but, sometimes the refs are going to call things a certain way, and sometimes they're not. But at least it's not as bad as the NFL, where they're dictating the outcome of games. So. All right, we broke our sub count there. We're at 20,703 now. Let's go. So just in the matter of this stream itself, we needed 11 when I started. We were at 20,689, and then we've gained 14 subs in just this first half alone. Let's go. 97 to go to 20,800. Shout out to all the new subs on the channel. And then even from last night, we gained another 5 or 10 or something of that nature. So Try to update my social media here. Let's go, baby. Next goal, 20,800. Got to update my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter/X accounts here real fast. Always good when you have a good milestone like that, where you're just continuously trying to grind and grind and grind, and then you're ending up with some good results. Here we go. I got to make sure Paisley is all settled in here, and we're going to get back to the second half here in just a minute or two. All right. Good sign. 20,703, 97 to go to 20,800. Let's go, baby. Man, Monday Night Raw, can't wait. That's going to be exciting, man, especially with Monday Night Football getting closer, to an end, as well as obviously Thursday Night Football is over. So obviously being able to start off the week on a good note, even though we have college football and the NFL, and we'll be waiting on obviously NASCAR in February, baseball in April, March Madness in March. It's going to be very awesome to be able to have, another opportunity to be able to get wrestling fans together here on the channel for potentially 5 times a month, once every week for Raw, and then the pay-per-view, PLE. So very excited about that. All right, looks like we're going to be getting out of halftime here momentarily. Got Paisley on the couch trying to take a nap. And then once this game is over, I'll take a long, long walk. Hopefully I don't get soaked again. And then I'll probably dip into the next bowl game a little bit to evaluate some talent to see if we have anything on Ole Miss and Duke. Jackson Dart's final college game in the Gator Bowl. 25 TDs, 6 picks. So we'll see Ole Miss sling it and fling it. Both teams are 9-3, but I don't know if Duke even has a chance in that game, but we'll find out. Let me look at the NBA and the NHL to see what we got going on today on the slate. Blazers Lakers on tonight at 7:30. And then obviously Kraken and Canucks at 7. So I'll be watching both of those later tonight. Kraken at home versus the Canucks. We'll watch that Duke Ole Miss bowl game. And then I'll watch a little bit of the Blazers as well. Offensive line hasn't been the greatest for Georgia, and usually it is pretty good. So O-line and D-line is really what's going to separate, the team that wins and the team that falls back, and see if Notre Dame can add some extra points here in the second half. Let's go, baby. You like that? You like that? Notre Dame is going to advance. Notre Dame and Penn State, huh? Is that what we're getting? Notre Dame and Penn State, Texas and Ohio State. The bottom part of the bracket might be the underrated part of the bracket, but anything is possible, right? If Notre Dame and Penn State play like they've played lately, anything is possible. Wow. Down the sideline and wave goodbye to the SEC. Goodbye. Goodbye. Oh, it's over, bro. Just like the Ohio State game was over. I'm not trying to jinx you, right? But just like the Ohio State game was over versus Oregon, there's not going to be enough time for Georgia to come back. You just don't want to jinx it, and I will never jinx you, but they're not coming back. Remember we said if they scored right out of the gates, I actually meant not special teams, but just like the first drive. But Georgia will not come back 100%. This one is over. Fantastic start for I'm happy for you, Odin. And again, Notre Dame fans have been waiting for this. I mean, you've had a few teams over the years, like Manti Te'o, and you've been able to get to the Natty, but this team feels a little bit different. You guys match up against Penn State really well, just like Ohio State and Texas. And it shows you as you get further and further into the playoff, you match up nicer and nicer and nicer, or you could be like John Gruden, and that's nicey. And these matchups are nicey as we get further and further along. And Notre Dame and Penn State could really go either way. Same thing with Ohio State and Texas. I don't know if there's really a favored team, between those matchups. And yes, we still have a second half to finish before we announce Notre Dame the winner, but Notre Dame is going to win. Wow. 17 points in 54 seconds. Oh, my. Defense wins games. Defense wins championships. Offensive line has been struggling for Georgia, and they're starting to realize with all that makeup and all that dress up, trying to be the Legion of Doom, right? You're trying to be the Road Warriors. You're not the same Georgia powerhouse as you were in years past, where you were so much better than everyone else. Notre Dame had a better team than normal. Georgia's team is a little bit worse, and it shows. Because obviously if Georgia was the same team as they were in years past, they would be ahead 20-3. Just saying. I mean, will Georgia have some plays in this game? Of course. Will they score, some touchdowns before the game is over? Of course, right? But Notre Dame is so much faster on defense. They're flying around. They're making the plays. They're getting the turnovers. They're making plays on special teams and defense, and that's what it takes to win. O-line, D-line, defense, coaching, play calling, special teams. I'm happy for you, Odin, man. You guys deserve it. Especially with all the doubters. The NIU loss was bad, but again, it's better to have that bad loss in the regular season than in the playoffs like Oregon did and be undefeated and then play terrible in a half and then the season's fucking over, And I wish you guys the best of luck against Penn State. And again, that could go either way. Not over yet, but we'll see. All right, Georgia, your turn. Like the one thing that you couldn't have happen is a special teams or a drive all the way down the field and a score. And that's exactly what Georgia gave up. And I guarantee a lot of them, you're going to look at body language and you're going to notice a lot of them are going to already feel defeated. I mean, you're down 17. You could come back, right? But can you stop Notre Dame? And the answer is no. Notre Dame isn't going to stop scoring. Little check down. ETN trying to find somewhere to go, but there's nowhere to go. Dancing left, dancing right. Too many Fighting Irish defenders with that speed, sideline to sideline. And that's one thing that we've seen with this defense. It kind of reminds me of the Manti Te'o years where the defense flies around, and it's not just like one guy, it's the whole team. They're flying around like a Big Ten or SEC team. I love it. Second down and 8, deep throw incomplete. Third down and 8 on the Georgia 34. And I imagine Georgia is going to try to get help from the refs. They're going to try to go deep and try to get some PI calls to kind of even the score a little bit. Is there a hold on that play? Yes, there is. Should that have been PI? Yes, it should have. Did they call it? No, they didn't. But that was a penalty on Notre Dame right there that they did not call. But again, they had another missed call on the other side earlier in the matchup in the first quarter. So maybe that's a little bit of, redemption there, a little payback. Marcus Freeman, he said, hey, I might be the underdog coach, right? But don't for 1 second think that we're not good enough. And Georgia had its run. It's not like, they're falling off the face of the earth, but it's hard to be great for many, many years in a row, especially now with NIL, with money, recruiting, no loyalty by the players or the coaches, people buying players essentially, you never really know how things are going to be. And you might have been a powerhouse with Kirby Smart and Nick Saban for all these years, but guess what? Everyone else has caught up, and you're no longer so much better than everyone else, and it shows. And I think it makes it better for college football. So, well, I think that Quinn Ewers is a better quarterback than Arch, but Arch is young, and he's going to be the starter next year, and it sounds like Ewers will either go to the NFL or he will, if he's eligible. I'll have to look at all the numbers and what everything that's for him. But it sounds like there is rumors for $5 to $6 million for an NIL deal to go to a Big Ten team next year. So if he leaves, Texas and goes back to Ohio State or joins Michigan or Oregon, I guess it just depends on what team he wants to play for. Does he want to go to the NFL and be one of the better quarterbacks like Cam Ward, or do you want to go back to college? And it might depend on what happens against Texas and Ohio State for his decision. So, but I mean, if Quinn Ewers is still eligible to stay, he's better than Arch. Obviously Arch has got the Manning name, right? But Ewers is the better quarterback, at least as of right now. Now, will Arch be able to catch up to him at some point? Yeah, we would assume he will, but Arch is still a little raw. It's going to take him some time. So, not every freshman is going to look like Jeremiah Smith or Ryan Williams, where they look like they could be drafted this year. Jeremiah Smith has to play college football for 2 more years before he even goes in. Jeremiah Smith could end up getting $5 to $10 million per year, just based on his abilities alone. And Jeremiah Smith is so good that he potentially could be one of the top 5 picks in the draft this year. I mean, how often do we say something like that? So, it's going to be very interesting to see, how some of these players develop and, where they end up going in the draft, whenever that may be. 20-3, Notre Dame. And Georgia punts to Notre Dame. And again, if Notre Dame scores again, this one already feels like it's on the cusp of being over, but you still got to respect Georgia, right? They get a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, touchdown, and a 2-point conversion. Then you're only down by 1. But they're having kind of a tough time with this Notre Dame defense. Backup quarterback, who played pretty good, but the offensive line has been dominated. And again, to win this game or any game moving forward, you got to win the line of scrimmage. O-line, D-line, they both have been won by Notre Dame up at this point, and that's why the score is 20-3. I mean, when's the last time we've seen Georgia with a 3? That should say everything in itself. The SEC is no longer king, and again, after Georgia gets eliminated, they're only going to have one team left, a Big 12 team, and Texas to rescue them. Otherwise, the Big 10 or an independent team is going to be a champion. But Texas is much better than Georgia. Sometimes, you get exposed, just like Oregon did. If you can't win the O-line and D-line battle, things get ugly, and they get ugly real quick. And you can find out the teams that are playing more motivated, more hungry, and again, the teams that have the extended bye lose. We've had every team that's had a bye that is going to lose. Georgia had the bye, Oregon had the bye, where they're both getting dominated. So obviously it doesn't pay to be undefeated. It doesn't pay to win the division. It's better off to lose a couple games and get into the playoff and continually play instead of being undefeated or only losing one game and getting a bye. It's better off to lose games and continuously keep playing. That's what this college football playoff is showing you. No breaks. You continuously play, best chance to win. You're not getting rewarded, by having a bye. If anything, it's screwing you over. I mean, that's what we're seeing up to this point this year, right? The bracket was wrong. They didn't reward Oregon for the 1 seed, and they need to reward the 1 seed like they do in the NFL, and obviously, home field advantage in the wild card first round was big. All those teams won, right? And obviously the teams that have this extended 1 week to 1 month break are very rusty, to say the least. 3rd down and 8. Like winning the division and might be overrated, because based on if the format doesn't change, it's like you don't want to win. You want to make sure you're still playing, even if you have a couple losses, you just want to make sure that you're in. That's all that matters. And you're playing every week. Good pressure there by Georgia on the time blitz, incomplete. And now Notre Dame with the punt. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. help us get to that 20 number, and then hopefully we can get to 25 or 30 unless we get the algorithm or hit the volume. And we're at 26, 74 to go on the dono train. Missed tackle there by Notre Dame. You got to tackle. There you go. Some of y'all might have a backup account. Help your bro out. All right, Georgia, you're running out of time. What are we going to get out of ETN? What are we going to get out of Gunner Stockton? But again, if the O-line and the D-line keep dominating for Notre Dame, Georgia will be able to fight back a little bit offensively and defensively, but it'll be kind of like Oregon, a little, too late. They'll have their run. They'll have their little rally in the third or fourth quarter, but down by 17, if Notre Dame can continuously keep putting up points and get to 30+, it's not going to be enough time for Georgia to come back, even if they end up getting a couple crazy plays on back-to-back drives. College football playoff quarterfinal at the All-State Sugar Bowl. Notre Dame 20, Georgia 3. And obviously, Georgia fans aren't going to be too happy about that, but as far as everyone else, I think everyone else is kind of pleasantly surprised that Notre Dame is, doing what they're doing here today. They match up very evenly with Penn State, just like Texas and Ohio State. You have to assume the top part of the bracket will be favored on whoever wins between those two teams is going to potentially win it all. But again, if it ends up being Ohio State, Penn State, could be interesting, right? And then if it ends up being Texas, Notre Dame, or any combination, that could be interesting as well. But again, we still got 11:48 in the third quarter, and we'll see if Georgia can mount any type of comeback. Shotgun set. Gunner Stockton going long, going deep, airing it out. Got a man, incomplete. Oh, my God. What happened to my hands? What happened to my helmet? How do you drop that, Bell? And that shows you they don't have the same type of NFL talent at wide receiver either. Because normally in the past, if Georgia has this opportunity, what happens? They score a touchdown right there, right? But that's what happens. Right? When you don't have the same type of talent like you have in years past, there is no Brock Bowers to bail you out this year. And that would have normally been a tutty, and you blew it. Second down and 10. First down, Bulldogs. He's got a nice arm on him for the backup quarterback who will be the starter, obviously, next year. ETN run for 3 yards. Second down and 7 at the Notre Dame 41. Yeah, for me, I just have to make sure that, whatever I'm watching, it has to be something that's not buffering, and it's not something that, that is making it uncomfortable. Like, I want to be able to watch So, even if that means that I'm like 5 seconds, 10 seconds behind on some plays, other plays I'll be live and others that might be a little behind. I mean, as long as I'm not having to refresh or find another stream every 5 to 10 seconds, I mean, that's the goal. So, and also depends on how you're watching too. Little screen pass. First down, Bulldogs. Touchdown, Bulldogs. And just like that, they're trying to make this a game. And again, obviously the pressure, they're feeling it right now. Gunnar Stockton pass complete to Cash Jones. 32 yards for a tutty. And how do you go that wide open? Blown coverage from Notre Dame. Touchdown, Bulldogs. Nice tutty by Cash Jones. If you're Notre Dame, what happened there? Unexcusable. Extra point is up and good. 20-10, Irish. But what you can see with Gunnar Stockton, he's got a nice arm on him, for being a backup. Like, he'll definitely be the starter next year. And even if Beck was coming back, I think I would rather go with this guy. All right, 10-point game. All right, Irish, your turn. They know what to do. .26, 74 to go. Oh, that's dope. I didn't even notice that. Notre Dame has got cornerback Charles Du's name in Chinese on the back of the uniform. That's insane. He's a walk-on from China. That's fire, man. I never even, I don't know if he's going to get a chance to get in and play it all, but that's kind of cool. (20-10) Notre Dame. All right, Irish, your turn. Time to respond. At least with 3. Shout out to all the new subs that we've gotten over the last few days. Appreciate you. Gained another sub. Now we're at 96 to go. $20,704. Feels good to be in that 20,700 number. Next goal, 20,800. Crowd finally into it. Shotgun set. Leonard scrambling to the outside. There you go. And Leonard has to be a weapon with his legs. You cannot go away from not using your legs as a weapon. Don't forget what got you that lead. You know, and again, if they're going to get the Uncle Mo and the momentum, you know, on the Georgia sideline with, you know, them just being the Bulldogs, you're going to have to make sure that, you know, you answer back. You're going to have to use your legs. Especially when we haven't really seen Jeremiah Love or any of the running backs get going yet for either team. Now Leonard is running on almost every play. Got to time it right. You know, you got to make sure, you know, the look is correct. 3rd down and 6. $8:40 and counting. Got to move the chains. Pass complete to Evans. 1st down. Irish. Move the chains. Let's go. There we go. Mitchell Evans. 1st down. Notre Dame. Move the chains. Nice job. I see you. Number 7 tight end prospect, Mitchell Evans. Man in motion. Shotgun set. Handoff. Bouncing it to the outside. The 50. The 40. Flag on the play. All right, what's the flag here? Oh, holding on number 1. Brutal. That's coming back. Great house. Come on, baby. That was unnecessary there by Greathouse. He didn't need to do that. Now the ref's trying to get the spot. Tennessee is not a very good quarterback evaluation team. So, you know, if they end up grabbing one, you know, even if they get Cam Ward, that's not going to solve all their problems. Even if Quinn Ewers went there, you know, Shedeur Sanders would be a nightmare. It wouldn't work there. And I would assume Dion would say no, you know, to have his son go to Tennessee. So I imagine New York or Vegas is where they're going to land for Shedeur. Little screen pass there, short game. Man, they're not the same team without Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, and A.J. Brown. Things have gotten very bad in Tennessee. And I don't see any light at the end of the tunnel, unfortunately. I mean, the AFC South is not a very good division, and you're the worst team in a very bad division. That's not saying a whole lot. That's terrible. Second down and 13. Little check down and complete. Good pressure there by the Bulldogs on Riley Leonard as he picks himself off the turf. Yeah, because they don't know what they're doing. Malik Willis and, going through all their, quarterback Will Levis. I mean, these guys are not good enough. But it also doesn't help that O-line, D-line, defense, skill position players, coaching. I mean, they don't have anything. Third down and 13. Nice little slant. Takes a hit, takes another hit, dives forward just short of the marker. Should be 4th down and 1. I mean, you should be able to get 1 yard here. He says we need 1. Just 1. Got an injured Georgia player down. I mean, on 4th down and 1, you could just QB sneak it with Riley Leonard and get the first down. We're 6 on 4th down conversions. You just have to know stats, baby. But I don't like him in shotgun set, though. Should be underneath the center. That was not well executed at all. Why would you run a sneak with the quarterback in shotgun set? That was stupid. What were they thinking there? I mean, last time I checked, if you're trying to get a first down on 4th down and 1, you have the quarterback line under the center, push it. You don't have him run from 5 yards, 6 yards back against that Georgia D line. That was one of the dumbest play calls I've seen today. Come on, Notre Dame, be better. Well, he's short. There's no way in hell he got the marker off that fucking attempt. They might have placed it closer than it deserved to be, but I don't think the ball. Let's see what the ball placement is. Nope, short. And that's a favorable spot. It probably should be back even a few more inches. Come on, Notre Dame. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. You want this? You want to play against Penn State? You can't have bad calls in the second half like that and give Georgia an opportunity to come back, and get that Uncle Mo. Your team is the better team this year, but again, you can't get out-coached at the end of the second half here, especially if Georgia ends up, scoring very quickly and it's 2017, then the momentum is completely shifted. Well, hopefully they, if they have another opportunity for 4th down and 1, they don't do that fucking again, because that was a terrible play call. I could already have told you that wasn't going to work. Play action fake. Nope, they hand it off to ETN. Short game. I mean, some teams have good play callers and some don't, and it shows. But I'm a little baffled that you would run that play on 4th and 1. At least even having the quarterback under center and handing it off to Jeremiah Love would have been better than that. Lining up under center with Riley Leonard. QB sneak would have been better than that. Why the hell would you be in shotgun set? Stupid. Come on, Irish. Shotgun set. Stockton's running now. Takes a big lick. 3rd down. 6-yard gain by Stockton. 3rd down and 3 on the Notre Dame 43. I mean, I haven't seen Notre Dame to make too many errors today, but that was a big one. Notre Dame needs to stop. Third down and 3. And that's another questionable play there to Cash Jones. Why would you go to Cash Jones right there? 4th down and 2 on the Notre Dame 42. And Kirby Smart, they already are down by 10 points at this point. So as we see Carson Beck there on the sideline. %75% conversion rate for Georgia on 4th down. And they're running shotgun set here. Man in motion. False start. Wow. Self-inflicted wounds. Self-inflicted wounds, baby. Terrible. Fairchild, what are you doing? What are you smoking, Fairchild? Fourth down and 7. You have to punt now. And Fairchild, man, he is very heated on the sideline. That cost them a chance for 3, probably 6, based off the momentum on that drive. Another flag. This game has been really sloppy compared to Oregon, Ohio State. I'm not sure if that would... What do we got? Offsetting? Delay a game. Defense. Really? When's the last time we've seen a delay a game defense? Now 4th and 2, they're going to go for it again. I did get a delay a game on the defense. That's a really rare penalty. Unbelievable. Now Georgia has another crack at it here. Fairchild is obviously going to be very angry, for almost costing his team. I imagine he's going to explode out of the gate here. Watch for Fairchild on the line. Maybe it'll give a little bit more time here for Georgia. Shotgun set. They bring the blitz, and they stop him. Caught but short. Good time blitz by Notre Dame. They gave Georgia a little bit of their own medicine on that timed blitz, which is Georgia's kind of known for, especially on third down. Huge play by the Irish to get that pressure there. Threw it just a little bit earlier than he wanted. Great stop there for you, Odin. Both those Irish defenders, made it difficult. And obviously made Gunnar Stockton throw that football slightly sooner than he wanted. If he was able to get a little bit more time, maybe the receiver would have been able to get up the field about one more yard. Leaning forward, still would have been maybe short, but it would have been short by a lot less. All right, Irish, you got to get points. You got to make sure that you're extending this lead. The longer that you hang, you have Georgia hang around, there's going to be a chance for a potential big comeback. Leonard, following his blockers there, gain of about 4, second down and 6 on the Notre Dame 47. Oh, God damn it. Jeremiah Love is down. Fuck. Get up. I mean, it's already bad that he has the illness and hasn't been feeling normal, but then now down on the ground, God damn it. I mean, he hasn't been a real factor today, but that doesn't mean that he can't be the guy that gives you that icing on the cake, that cherry on top with that big tutty late, but almost a non-factor for the running backs in this game, at least up to this point. Let's see what happened. Did he get stepped on? Georgia players behind him. He gets rolled up on. That doesn't look like anything super severe, but yeah, I assume that he won't be back. With a limp like that, and he hasn't really been a factor today, they'll have to rely on the backups now. But the backups are still going to be good enough to be able to get little 3-4 yard gains at a time. I don't know if you're going to end up getting any explosion running back, touchdowns in this particular matchup, but hopefully that's the only injury that we see out of Notre Dame. When Oregon started losing player after player after player, it's hard to keep up, when you start losing your stars. Riley Leonard, 4-yard gain. First down, Irish. Must be the luck of the Irish. But this is going to be the sole reason you win, besides the O-line and the D-line play right here. This guy. Darian Price running 6 yards, 8 yards, second down and 2 on the Georgia 40. And Price is very capable. He might not be as explosive as Love, but he's still capable of getting big plays, as you can see here, bouncing into the outside, almost getting a first down on that last run. Marcus Freeman loves it. He said, "You a dog. You a dog, Price." Good blocking up front by the Irish and not holding either. Another handoff. Yes, sir. Step arm. Get off me, punk. First down, Irish. Move the chain. And obviously this drive feels like they're going to be able to get a minimum of 3. But, if they really want to put the nail on the coffin, they got to get the tutty here. I like what I'm seeing out of the running backs, even though Love has been sick with an illness and he's been hurt, banged up with that right knee. But Price is definitely capable enough of taking over the reins at running back there. Nice job, Price. First down and 10. on the Georgia 32. Man in motion, shotgun set. There we go. There we go. I like that. Break that tackle. Malachi starts with the tackle on Phyton. Second down as the clock winds down here. We're approaching the end of the third quarter. Let's see if they just let the clock run out here on second down and 4. I would. No point of running a play when you can think about it here. End of the third quarter, 20-10, Irish. I wish Oregon was in this kind of position yesterday, but you know, I'm happy for you, Odin, and I'm happy for all the Irish fans that are out there. Now, obviously, Georgia fans are not really too thrilled, you know, with what the score is right now. But again, Georgia's team hasn't been as good as they traditionally have been. Notre Dame has been better, and it shows. You know, it's about who's hot and healthy at the right time. And, you know, as long as Notre Dame doesn't have the ultimate collapse, they're going to win this game. End of the third, 20-10, Notre Dame. And Notre Dame will have a chance against Penn State. I mean, Aller and Riley Leonard match up very, very well. You know, you got really good players like Tyler Warren on one side, Jeremiah Love, Price on the other. I mean, it's going to be a slugfest. It's going to be very entertaining. Now, obviously, Ohio State, Texas will get the higher ratings because they have more explosive players and more NFL players on those two teams in that matchup. But I actually think the Notre Dame-Penn State matchup is intriguing as well. It's just not going to be as sexy as Ohio State, Texas, but I think it'll live up to the billing. One quarter away, Odin. You the man, Odin. But one thing is for sure, all 4 teams with a bye are going to lose, you know, and obviously it shows you a little flaw, you know, in this college football playoff. The seeding wasn't correct, you know, obviously having the home field advantage in the, opening round, all those teams won easily, and then the teams that obviously had the bye are not able to recover because you're not in the same rhythm during the college football season. You have to keep playing. You can't take a week off. You can't take 2 weeks off. You can't take a month off. You're not going to be able to, no matter how many NFL players you have on the roster, you have too much of a break. It's too much to come back from. But again, we've already seen Bama and Georgia dominate, year in and year out. Kind of nice to see someone else. That's why we were kind of hopeful with Oregon that we could, be there too. But, Ohio State is still the king of the Big Ten, even though we went undefeated and won the Big Ten championship against Penn State. It shows you can still lose a couple games and still be the king, of college football, even though it's not over yet. But much love to the Buckeyes, and that's going to be a big rivalry with the Ducks for many, many, many years, just as heated as Michigan and Ohio State. Believe that. Leonard, floater, one-on-one, and complete. I don't think I would have thrown that on 2nd down and 4. Why not pound the rock with Price to the outside? They don't got an answer for that. Sometimes you got to pivot, your actual play calling instead of running up the gut. What's been working for Notre Dame is bouncing it to the outside and being able to get your running back in space or your players in space. And then obviously if you're running a passing play, crossing routes and slants have been working. But again, if you can run like an out and up and like a pump fake, a stop and go, that could lead to a touchdown as well, because they're definitely cheating up right now, the Georgia defense. 3rd down and 4. Let's see what they do here if they get a crossing route. Little check down, blockers, and Georgia's defense too fast for that play, even with 3 blockers assisting. You got to run crossing routes or slants. That's the only thing that's going to work. And if you're going to run the ball, run it to the outside. Not that they're not capable of doing other plays, but that's just what's been working against the Georgia defense up to this point. 4th down and 1. So normally you would just go for the field goal here, right? And that's what you normally would do. But if you're going to run a 4th down and 1, QB sneak it. Why are you in shotgun set again? What the hell are you doing? Leonard. They caught it, but there's a flag on the play, and I assume that's holding. I assume that's coming back. Now, that was a dumb play to call to begin with. Yes, he completed it, but again, I don't understand. If you're 6'6" with your tall quarterback who's capable, just run a tush push or a QB sneak, and it's an illegal shift. You're going to have illegal shift. You're going to have holding. Now, who's calling the plays for Notre Dame? Who's calling the plays, Odin? They need to change. They need to check their text messages, man. Come on, man. Do you guys want to win this game or what? It's 2 for 2 for today, 47 yards. Kick is up. And good, barely. 23-10 Irish. I almost feel like sometimes if you get too cute, with your abilities and the play calling, you get obviously a penalty in return. Like the sports gods are kind of noticing if you're playing around with them a little bit. They should have just went for the field goal initially, but at least they have a position here to just get it in. 23-10 Notre Dame. But let's be honest, the game feels like 27-10 or 30-10, even though they may only be down by 2 touchdowns. But it feels by, the score doesn't indicate the ass whooping that we've been seeing in the Irish with the Bulldogs here today. And again, field goal kickers are very, very important. I imagine Texas, will be looking, for someone that they feel that could be reliable. Because if they would have gotten the targeting call against them, Arizona State would have beaten them. But I don't think that would have been good for business. I think it's like they almost wanted Texas to win because of viewers and all the, pub and everything. The last thing that they want is to see a lower team go farther if they have a choice to it. Sometimes the refs are going to dictate the outcomes of games in the NFL and college football, but obviously Texas Ohio State is a lot sexier than Texas or Ohio State versus Arizona State. But Scadaboo is a G, though. I'll give him that. Touchback. Let's get those likes, baby. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. We're at 26:74 to go. And what do we need? One more to get to 20? There's somebody out there that'll help your boy out that's got a backup account or something. Hopefully we'll get a few more people to come through. Kind of surprised that people don't care about this game. And I get it. Obviously people watching Ohio State, Oregon, and knowing that I'm an Oregon fan and hoping that I lose and wanting to rub it in and whatnot. But this game is still fun. Maybe people just don't have appreciation for Notre Dame and Georgia like we do. Throw is high. First down, Bulldogs. Move the chains. There we go. Try to get to 25. Well, they're running 2-minute offense now, so obviously everything is going to be rushed. Notre Dame just got to play with some discipline. Oh, big gain. First down, Bulldogs. And again, when you have good athletes, they're not going to just roll over and die. They're going to have some big runs and big throws before this game is over, especially running a 2-minute offense, and Notre Dame has to adjust. They've been having plenty of time to substitute players, go into audibles and change their formations. But if you run a hurry up, that's less time to make adjustments at the line of scrimmage, which is giving Georgia the advantage. Just short of the marker there. Second down and 2 at the Notre Dame 28. Yeah, I don't think they forgot how to stop the run. It's just running this hurry up, defense and hurry up offense. Things get a little discombobulated, when you have to go faster, especially if the offense knows a couple different options of plays that they can run to be able to get the advantage on that defense. Shotgun set. Gunner Stockton. And complete. Good defense there by the Irish. Second down and 10. Good defense there by the Irish. Third down and 13. Trips right. Shotgun set. There you go. Oh, it came out. And complete. Good defense there by the Irish. Fourth down. They're going for it just outside of field goal range for their kicker, or they feel that 3 isn't good enough in this situation, even though you're down 13. Fourth down, floater. Got a man, incomplete, and a flag. Of course there is. Oh, my. I got to see what the coverage looks like, but when the camera panned to the receiver, it didn't really look like PI, but there might have been it early on after 5 yards, but let's see. Let's watch the replay to see if this was a true PI or not, or is this just trying to get Georgia back into the game? Let me see the replay. Okay, that is a good call. Like, I didn't see that angle the first time around, but that is a good call. Doesn't get his head turned around, and he does jump into the receiver, so that is a good call. Bad timing there. Got to get your head turned around there. Yeah, way more penalties than the Irish normally have. Normally a very disciplined squad. Whistle. And Marcus Freeman with a timeout. He's got to settle his team down, which is a good timeout right here. If that's what it is. I believe, or is it a Georgia clock issue? What do we got here? You can definitely tell this is a different era, of Georgia football. Because when's the last time that we've seen Georgia with fucking 10 points, regardless of what their record is, and they have Kirby Smart still coaching them, right? It's like never. It's like normally they are at 30, 40, 50. Like they're not at fucking 10. So it shows you like how the landscape of college football is changing, and it's not going to be dominated by just Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State. Again, those are still going to be teams that are going to be relevant, and popular. But obviously, when you lose your coaches, and recruiting and everything else is being a little bit more evened out, there's going to be opportunities for some of these other schools to make a name for themselves. Ole Miss. Yeah, and I think it's a good lesson for like Georgia fans also, is that when you're a champion. You know what I'm saying? Like once you won it before, you know what it takes to be a champion. And then if you have any doubts about your team, guess what? You're not going to win it. It's like, oh, I don't know if we can do this at quarterback, or oh, the O-line is a little shaky, or oh, the defense isn't as strong. And then, you know what it takes, when you watch certain teams, and, this Georgia team doesn't look anything like the previous national championship teams that they've had with those NFL players. Nowhere near. Still a good team, but not like, oh my God, they got 50 NFL players and everyone else has got like 10 or less. It was very, very one-sided. Now things have changed. This would be a good win for the Irish. And they would have a chance against Penn State. That's a very even matchup, just like Ohio State and Texas is. The better teams are at the top of the bracket, Buckeyes and Longhorns, but you never know. If Penn State or Notre Dame end up having an amazing half in the championship, they could end up beating Texas or Ohio State, right? We've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly out of all those teams, but I would assume that Notre Dame, if they win this, and Penn State, they would be least likely to win it all, whoever it is. But crazier things have happened. Oregon lost by 20 after going undefeated and 13-0, winning the Big Ten over Penn State. Like, you just don't know. And I pray that we don't see a bad half like Oregon had for one of these last four teams, either, going up to the Natty or in the Natty. I hope that we get quality games that get decided by like 3 for each one, but the chances of that happening is probably pretty slim, but you never know. Ohio State, Texas could be decided by 3, and I think Penn State, Notre Dame could be decided by 3-7 as well. Gunner with the short gain, 3rd down. I'm just kind of sad for my passion and love for college football. Like, this is coming to an end. Like, I don't really feel as bad as I should. Again, the Huskies lost to the Ducks. The Ducks lost to the Huskies twice last year hurt me more, than their loss to Ohio State. I mean, obviously, I know how hard it is to be able to try to get to the promised land, and then when you get there, to be able to win it. So, again, and most head coaches, in this generation, it takes more than 6 years of coaching before the elite coach wins his natty. Kirby Smart, Harbaugh, Nick Saban. Usually it's like in 6 to 8 years. That's how long it takes. Dan Lanning is in year number 3. So, we're still ahead of schedule, and we've been winning 10 games or more every year with him. But it's like, we need to be able to get more of his recruits, not guys that are kind of left over. And we're going to still get good transfers. But you're going to notice in about a year or two, it's going to be all Dan Lanning guys that are going to be there. And, I think that some of the position groups are going to be much, much better than what we have right now. So O-line, D-line, secondary, linebacking core, we're always going to have, flashy running backs, wide receivers. But again, quarterback, could be better. Obviously running backs could be, more on the Michael James, Anthony Thomas athleticism. That's what we need, to be able to compete. And then, we need receivers that are better. I feel like we had good receivers, but they weren't like NFL. It's like, and that's the difference. Sometimes you need NFL guys at those certain positions to be able to go over the top. It's like if you don't got guys at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, or tight end that are NFL, and if they do get drafted, it's like 6th, 7th round. That's not good enough. If you want to be able to win a natty, you're going to need some 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th rounders, on your team in college football. It's pretty rare for a team to be able to win it all with limited NFL players. I mean, it just doesn't happen. Yeah. But we learned from them and we got better, but, I mean, because based on how we played, we could have played in the first round, and let's say we play Indiana, we beat them and smoke them by 20 or 30. But then if we match up against Ohio State again, and for whatever reason, but I guess that wouldn't have happened because one team has to rest and one team is playing. So it's different than like Ohio State and Oregon both playing games and then matching up with each other. It wouldn't be like that. It'd be one team is sitting and then one team is playing to play that team. So moral of the story is don't be the number 1 seed. Don't get the playoff bye, because if you end up getting the playoff bye, it's going to curse you. Because we're about to see no teams with a bye win. All the home teams in the first round, all the teams that have a bye, they don't win. So it favors all of those outside teams that played first, regardless of what school that is. I rooted for you guys, and I was genuine about it. Like I talk about Michael Penix Jr. and how much I love him, and I'm probably one of the old, Oregon fans who show love to this degree of like how Penix was more enjoyable to me than even Nix, and Nix is great in the NFL. Penix has to catch up to him now, but obviously if Penix started at the beginning of the year, he'd probably be where Nix is right now too, or it's maybe just slightly behind. Shotgun set on 3rd down and 7. And just 1 yard right there. Good collapsing defense out of Notre Dame. And that's one thing that this team reminds me of the Manti Te'o team. This team is very fast, and they're sideline to sideline. They gang tackle well. And in years past, Notre Dame's defense has been pretty good, but they're not as fast as this team. And that's kind of the difference. The speed from not just like Manti Te'o and like one other guy. It's like the entire across the board, 11 guys, they're fast, and they attack, and that's what you need out of your defense in college football or the NFL. You need them to swarm and get gang tackles of 3, 4, 5 guys at a time, every time. He's open, back shoulder, incomplete. No flags. So that one looked like it could have been a flag, and there was no flag there. It was very close. It was contested. I would have said no flag, but if they would have thrown a flag, would we have been surprised? The throw is too high, and it needed to be back, shoulder, and lower, and it would have scored. A little uncatchable there. Yeah, but maybe that'll be good karma for both of us, It's like, yes, we're rivals, and when it comes down to it, there's going to be some Oregon fans that hate Washington and Washington fans that hate Oregon. That's natural. It's the rivalry. It's like Washington doesn't like Washington State. Oregon doesn't like Oregon State. That's how it goes. But when it comes down to teams, making a name for their conference, we can kind of come together and try to support each other. I mean, obviously, when we play each other, we want to beat each other's ass. But when other teams are playing each other, I want success, for the other teams. And I know some Oregon fans would be like, no, I want Washington State, Oregon State, and Washington to suck ass, no matter if they're playing us or not. But I don't know. I feel like if you're overly hateful, bad shit happens to you. You gotta be a little bit more humble and a little bit more, a little bit more forgiving and rooting for other people to have success too. 2nd down. Yeah, and even though you guys didn't win the Natty against Michigan, you had that epic win against Texas, and that was amazing. And obviously the two big ones against Oregon too. That definitely makes the resume look nice. 3rd down and 3 on the Notre Dame 16, 23-10 Irish. And again, we said at the very beginning, the team that won the O-line, D-line battle was going to win, and that has been Notre Dame. It's like even if quarterback, running back, wide receiver play is pretty even, like I said, O-line and D-line really will make the difference when it matters the most. 3rd down conversions, one's 2 for 10, the other's 2 for 11, as even as it gets. Defenses are disciplined and they're strong. Nice second effort there. Wow. Big first down by the Irish with that hezzy there at the end. Woo! Now they're going to measure. Now Kirby Smart's like, no. Fuck that. We're going to lose if that happens. Fuck that, he says. Yeah, he's out. He's short. Yeah, he's short. Yeah, short of the marker. It's okay to be honest. And I think that's one thing about football fans too, and sports fans in general. Some fans have a hard time admitting, when, the calls are right or wrong. Like when you have a bad call going in your favor, you can roll with it, but I feel like if you do, it kind of shows your character of like how you are in life. It's okay to admit to be wrong. It's okay to admit that the other team did something good, or if you're getting kind of a fucked up call, like it's okay to admit, it doesn't have to be like everything that goes in your team's favor. If it's legit or not, you just ride or die for it, But that definitely was short. But again, if you're going to go for it, fucking run a goddamn QB sneak and go under center. Like, why are you making it so hard for your fucking self? Shotgun set with fucking Riley Leonard. He's not goddamn Michael Vick. Like, why the hell would you do that? It's just mind-boggling. I mean, if you had like a guy like Lamar, then you can run that, because obviously if he's under center, he's still fast enough to make the adjustment and follow his O-lineman to get the first down. But if you got a guy like Lamar, fine. You want to run that shotgun set on 4th down and 1 or 2, fine. But if you're not Lamar, then like, what are you doing? Like, you got a big enough body and, that you can just mull over the guys. But obviously you're too close here. You can't go for it here. Right? You don't get it here. Georgia scores in one play. You're fucked. Fuck are they doing here? Special teams jump off. Look at these guys. What the fuck are they doing? And now Georgia has to substitute. Look at this. What the fuck is going on? And now timeouts galore. People are confused. Confused, dog. What the fuck is going on? This is brilliant coaching by Notre Dame to do that. They don't even have to hike it. They can just wait and take the delay. Georgia offsides. Go deep. Get it. Incomplete. Flag on the play. Oh my. And the game might be over now if that's offsides on Georgia. Oh, baby. Discipline. Do you have a discipline? See, that's great coaching. That's something like Dan Lanning would do. Like, oh, we're going for it. No, we're not. Oh, we're substituting. And then, fuck, I got to substitute now. Oh, shit. Like, and then you see some of the players staying on the field confused. Like, do I stay? Do I go? 11 guys on 11 guys, switching and whatnot. 5-yard penalty. And that might have been the most brilliant thing that he has done at Notre Dame as a coach. Not just this year, but ever. That was huge. That might have just won them the game right there. That brilliant decision to go from field goal kick, I'm going for it, I'm going to kick it, I'm not, what am I doing? Substitute, you substitute, the fucking confusion. And that would be for anybody, no matter if you're elite on defense, right? In that scenario, right? It's like, you want to call timeout? Do you want to waste a timeout on that particular play? And it burnt you. Discipline is everything. Brilliant play call. That was very Dan Lanning, Chip Kelly-esque. Brilliant. They'll be talking about that play for a long fucking time. That was awesome. I love the intelligence of football, I'm a stat and analytical guy. I like to go a little bit deeper. But, But to do that kind of shit in that moment, right there with the game on the line, up by 13, fuck, man. My man needs a raise. Golly. I like it. Fucking put up your one. We got a new tribal chief. It ain't Solo or Roman Reigns. You're looking at him. Wow. Okay. A little short game. But the bottom line is you're bleeding the clock instead of giving them more time, to have it. Every second matters when you're up by 13. You want to run the ball, you want to bleed the clock, you have to throw a few times, to be able to more than likely get the first down, unless Riley Leonard can run with his legs and be the X factor, which he's kind of been today. He might not be the best quarterback in college football, but Notre Dame doesn't need to have the guy that is the best. Doesn't need to be, even as good as that Brady Quinn, Rick Meyer. No one's going to be Joe Montana. All right, that's the cream of the crop, Notre Dame, baby. There's a couple other old school guys as well. 3rd and 7. Leonard bouncing it to the outside. Yeah! Let's fucking go. Are you fucking kidding me? Diving over the top? That's a guy that wants to win the game and put the team on his fucking back. Are you fucking kidding me? Wow. That's my dude. Holy shit. I mean, these are the type of plays where you dive like that, land on your head, and you do the fucking John Elway helicopter thing. That shows how much heart and guts that you have. And everyone, if they weren't riding or dying for you before, they fucking are now. Like, you're going to see more effort out of the players, because if the quarterback is willing to sacrifice his body, like a running back, tight end, or a wide receiver, that says a lot about Riley Leonard's character. Huge fucking play. And again, if you played sports, you know what I'm talking about. You see your quarterback, do something like that. That's a huge boost to the sideline and the team. Unbelievable. What a fucking G, dude. Awesome. And again, those back-to-back, the call, to be able to go for it, to fake, and the substitutions that led to the false start. And, obviously in the neutral zone, boom, get that first down, and then trying to go for that dive like that. I mean, those are moments that you're going to remember, this season, like as those pivotal moments, like if Notre Dame ends up, let's say, winning it all. You're going to remember those two plays as like the start point of something special, or if they end up beating Penn State and getting to the Natty and losing, but at least getting there as an independent school, and beating teams that are very good. But Notre Dame just a little bit better today. I love it, man. Because I think for some people, they just see, they just tried to go for it, and then they switched it, and they audibled, and they made a substitution. No, it's more than that. A quarterback diving over the top and landing on his head just to get the first down. That's not normal. Not very many quarterbacks would fucking do that. Like only a very small percentage, that would either A, have the athleticism to do it, B, to actually do it to show, hey, you can rely on me. I'm the leader, and if you ever doubted me for whatever, this is showing you that I will do whatever for this team. And those are the type of guys that I like watching. The guys that will take their game and like, oh, Riley Leonard, so what, and then you watch this game and you're like, okay, like, he might be a little bit better than some people want to give him credit for. There's a reason why this team is at where they're at. I'm impressed. I mean, if he can play like that, and if you have coaching like that, you can beat Penn State. It'll be a battle. They're going to put up points, and they're going to be better than Georgia because they're better offensively and defensively with Aller and their weapons, and Tyler Warren, Mr. Swiss Army knife, can do everything at the tight end position. Like, Tyler Warren's going to score in that game against Notre Dame. It just depends, does he score once or does he score twice? And then that could be the difference if Notre Dame wins or loses. So, next game, Jackson Dart, baby. Unless you are not familiar with Ole Miss. I know not a lot of people love college football as much as the NFL, but I certainly do. And we got to make sure we represent that, here on YouTube. NFL is always going to be like the most popular, But again, the college football playoff is definitely going to get more eyeballs, on this product. And the better games that we have, then the better representation we're going to have. 2nd down and 8. Nice little counter there. Close to the marker. Yeah, but why is that, Captain? Ask yourself, why is that? It's because the offensive line did not play good. The backup quarterback actually has an arm, and he was zipping it. But again, you have to go into the flow of the game, and time of possession. You want to make sure that you're not being one-sided and abandoning the run. And good coaches are not going to do that. And you got ETN, so why would you abandon the run? You got guys, but the offensive line did not give him enough time to be able to go through his progressions to have a bigger day. And that's what it comes down to. It's like, look at Dylan Gabriel and Will Howard, right? One guy got a hell of a lot of time, had the best receiver in the game in Jeremiah Smith. The other didn't make any mistakes, but the stat line isn't as impressive because the offensive line didn't do as good. Our running back got hurt. Our wide receivers got hurt. Jordan James, goodbye. Didn't even have him. Didn't even really run the ball anyways. But, then ended up losing Evan Stewart, and then obviously, you had another injury with a top dog as well. It's like, how many things that have to go wrong before things go right? But if the offensive line would have been better for Georgia, things would have been a little different. And like I said, this Georgia team isn't as strong. They're wearing the colors, but just because you're wearing the colors and this is your school doesn't mean that you're the same team that we were used to seeing winning natties and being, so much better than everyone else. It definitely has evened out, and that's great for college football. Not for Georgia, but for college football, it's great. Let's look at stat lines here real quick. So we got Gunnar Stockton. Let's look at you real quick here. All right. 18 for 29, 225 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Okay. And then let's go this route here, Notre Dame. Riley Leonard, 14 for 23, 88 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks, but 11 carries for 65 yards. Gunnar Stockton, 9 carries, negative 16 yards, and that's just like Dylan Gabriel. He ended up having multiple carries for like negative 44 yards because all the sack lunches. If you're a quarterback and you have negative yardage rushing, you lose the game 100% of the time. It's like, how bad is it? Negative 10, negative 14, negative 40. And if you see negative 40 rushing out of your quarterback, that means that O-line sucked ass and he got fucking sack lunch a shitload. Look at this little end around, baby. Break that tackle, baby. Woo, 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 woo. Flag on the play. Yeah. But it shows you like how you can have one bad half of football in an entire season, right? And then it's over. Goodbye, Ducks. No chance to keep going and have a dream possibly come true and at least make it to the Natty and lose, and we couldn't even do that. It's just there's so much on the line in college football compared to the NFL. NFL, you can fuck up multiple times, as many as 7 times, and then you could still win it all. College football, you might have one bad half and then goodbye. That's it. Crazy, man. It's going to be so difficult to win natties year in and year out consistently now. Like to end up having powerhouses, it's probably going to be different teams every year. It's going to be, especially with all the players moving around and the coaches too, switching schools, switching teams. It's going to be hard to have like one team win 3-4 in a row. Almost impossible. And I told y'all, Georgia, a little too late. But again, Notre Dame's defense is legit. Georgia usually is a better team, but remember, Reflect mentioned it, a few weeks back. Instead of their defense being like, top 5 or number 1 overall, they were in the top 20 and top 25 defenses in some categories. That's not Georgia defense. Georgia defense is number 1 through number 10, typically top 5 or top 2, top 3. So if you're in like the top 20s in some of the categories, there's flaws there. You're wearing the Georgia uniform, but the players are not the same as when they were winning natties. That's how you only have 10 as a Georgia fan. Like, sub, donate, comment, share, Allstate, Sugar, Bowl, Fighting Irish, Bulldogs, Bow Wow. And I always like being able to grind because I love being able to shine for every team, to be able to show things that, if this was my team, I want to make sure we're seeing the best of the best. And that's what makes this channel special. We'll get to be able to see literally the best of whatever we're covering. So that way, every single team and every single player, is getting the shine and the recognition. That's the way it should be. Not just for the streamer's favorite team and favorite players, and that's it. We need to make sure we're putting the light on you guys too, and your favorite teams and your favorite players. It gets me more invested in sports when I know Odin is diehard, and loves this, and I'm seeing this great success, this season. Makes me feel good. And then it makes me even feel better when I can, grind it out and do the call. Stream the game. Make a beautiful thumbnail for you guys. Show my creativity. Yeah, you have to look it up. Well, I think with Texas's offense, Quinn Ewers and then the running backs and the wide receivers, they've definitely lost some guys, to the NFL the last couple of years at running back and wide receiver, so you have to keep that in mind. But it's usually the offensive line wasn't as good, and injuries and guys getting matched up against Georgia's best at that time. And remember, it depends on not only who you play, right, but it matters when you play them. Just because you play a team early in the season doesn't mean they're going to be the same team later, like Ohio State. They already looked great against Oregon. We barely beat them at Autzen by 1. And one of the most memorable games in Oregon Duck football history and college football history. But look at the result that happened yesterday. Ass whooping. 20-point loss. 20-point win by them. So, but I feel like every, question will be resolved with offensive line and defensive line, and look at the rankings of those. And, you can have big notable names like Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning, but if your offensive line stinks or is injured, of course you're not going to be able to be as dominant as you know that you can be. You're going to fuck up sometimes. Sometimes guys are going to sack you. Sometimes you're going to get tipped interceptions. Sometimes you're going to make the bad read. Like Georgia can beat Texas in the regular season, but how are the teams playing now? And again, it's not who you play, but when you play them. And if they had Carson Beck, still healthy, they would have had more than 10, but maybe not a whole lot more. Maybe 3 to 4 more points, and that's it. Good teams find a way to win. Bad teams find a way to lose. And, the discipline for Notre Dame is usually there. It wasn't today, but it didn't kill them. Georgia had their own. Sack lunch. False start. Self-inflicted wounds. Swag. Gold helmets. Green. Irish. Leprechauns. Swagger. I'm good. Tribal Chief. You the man. Tipped? Yeah, but also you have to think it's the ranking, what you get based on the teams that you played. So imagine playing teams that are ranked 100th in defense, and you can end up, kind of slinging it. You're playing teams that can't fucking stop anybody, and you're putting up 40, 50, 60, 70 points, and then it's going to make you look maybe better than you really are, just based on your schedule and who you played. I mean, in the last, 10 years or whatnot, I mean, when's the last time you've seen Georgia play in a notable game and put up 10? That should say everything. Going deep. Almost intercepted. You have to understand, I'm always going to look at the game deeper than anybody else. Like I said, there's going to be people that have certain point of views that are black and white. I always go deeper in that gray area. I magnify the issue or the problem, and I go as deep as the rabbit hole can take me, like the Matrix. Like, I just don't want the regular answer or the answer that is obvious. I want something more specific. 12 noon, you know what time it is? Time for sack lunch? Yum, 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 yum. Yeah. Lucky Charms for everyone. Da. Let's go, baby. Fighting Irish. That makes me happy. Odin gets to celebrate something that I wish I could, but I can live vicariously through him, and he can enjoy this win. And now you got Penn State, and then you beat them. You're in the Natty against Ohio State or Texas. And Notre Dame will be the biggest underdog out of all the teams besides Penn State. But I mean, the way that college football is going, it's really going to be who's hot, who's healthy, and who's playing the best football right fucking now. And it might not necessarily be the number one team or the number two team. It might end up being a team that isn't on the same level as maybe some of the others, but they're just, on it. The Uncle Mo, he's staying overnight. He packed a bag, toothbrushes at your house, and that might not be a bad thing. Uncle Mo is riding and staying with you for a little bit. Impressive win. We called it in the first quarter. Didn't want to jinx it. Most fans, including Georgia fans especially, thought for sure we're going to get to at least 20 if we lose. But 10 points? Congratulations, Notre Dame. The Tribal Chief has spoken. Swag. I'm number one, baby. Roman Reigns, who? Sola Sokoa, who? Monday Night Raw live stream on the channel on Netflix. Yeah. Yeet. Pretty sweet. That's what it feels like to win. Man, that's nice. That's much better than the feeling that I had yesterday. But again, for me, I'm a diehard, so anybody can wear the gear when you win, but when you lose, can you still rock the gear? And rock it proudly, I'm a duck through and through, no matter what, good, bad, and ugly. I know we're going to get our natty one day, just, we're not there yet. Good team, but Ohio State, wow. If that's what it's going to take, then, we're going to need DeAnthony Thomas back in Oregon. We're going to need LaMichael James back at Oregon, that type of player. Because if we're going to have to match up against Jeremiah Smith, what do we have to offer? And again, you look at Oregon, we don't really have running backs, wide receivers, or tight ends that are going to be anything. Right? So when you're going against guys that are going to be something, Egbuka and him and Henderson, they got NFL players. So you got NFL players on one side, other side, if they make the NFL, will they even play? Will they even be drafted? Are they undrafted? Are they 6th, 7th round? Are some of them 3rd, 4th round? There's a difference. And so when you start evaluating talent, especially at talent at the next level, and you get someone that's a freshman that has to stay in college for 2 more years, that might be the best player in college football, and Jeremiah Smith, that's a weapon. But if the offensive line didn't play well for Ohio State, they wouldn't have been able to give them the ball, and that's the piece that's overlooked. Buckeye O-line was magnificent. What can you say? College football, baby. Amazing. Notre Dame, Penn State, they match up so good, so even, right? With the weapons that they have. Texas, Ohio State, even. Maybe an advantage for Ohio State, right? And I'm not sure if there's really an advantage Notre Dame or an advantage Penn State. Maybe advantage Notre Dame slightly, based on how they beat Georgia and holding them to 10. Maybe they'll be, but since they're an independent school, there might be a bias against them. So you'll probably get Penn State favored by 3.5, even though they may think Notre Dame's the better school. I don't know why they do that. It's like popularity contest, right? So, but who's looked better? I mean, you could have arguments for both, but it's, Drew Aller. We'll see how the matchup at quarterback's pretty even. Both guys can make plays, but both guys can fuck up. But it's even. It feels like both guys. But you got Tyler Warren on one side. The other side doesn't really have a Tyler Warren, but they have enough collectively. And then obviously, who's going to have the better O-line and D-line? The matchups are going to be very good. Notre Dame, Penn State, 50-50. Texas, Ohio State. You have to feel it's pretty 50-50. If you're a Buckeye fan, you might be leaning maybe 60-40 just because of how you beat Oregon, but I think that we understand as fans that any of the teams that are playing could win, and we haven't seen that before. And that's what makes college football great, even though that Oregon isn't in it, but you're getting a chance of any 4 teams could win it all. There's no favoritism from Alabama, Georgia having 50 NFL players and every other team having 10 or less or none. How are you supposed to win against that? And the answer is you fucking don't. But now, some guys left the game. NIL money, the recruiting, no loyalty for coaches or players. Now, you're not able to have that huge advantage. Kind of funny why Saban left. The advantage is gone. Now you have to really earn it instead of just being a name. And it's having the top guys in the class year after year after year. And it took him skill to get to that first level point to get it. But once he was there, every year was like, the top of class, and nothing changed. And he kept having the top class, a top class, a top class. I mean, yeah, you're going to probably win some championships if that fucking happens. But even if Notre Dame is the underdog and Penn State's the favorite, that's how you would want it. Because the notable underdog, right? But even if you feel Notre Dame's the better team than Penn State, they'll be labeled an underdog. Underdogs can find a way, right? And then Texas, Ohio State, you'll probably have Texas as the underdog, just for the simple fact that maybe they didn't really play very well on defense and almost lost to Arizona State. Maybe should have. If the targeting call was called, a couple missed field goals, you actually deserved to lose. So you didn't really look good. You barely won. And by the refs, it helped you out. Let's be honest. If you're a Texas fan and you can't admit that the refs helped you out a little, then you're lying to yourself. So, but if you're looking at who's looked the best, Texas has probably looked the worst out of the 4 teams left. But they are Texas, and they have Sarkisian and Quinn Ewers. And when you have arguably the best quarterback left, that might be the Josh Allen factor that could, propel Texas, even if their defense stinks right now at times, that they might be able to outscore you, and I can't wait to see what we get on that end. Are we going to get the good Buckeyes or the bad Buckeyes? The good Longhorns, the bad Longhorns. Every play is magnified, just like Notre Dame, Penn State. And, in the NFL, it feels like we only have 4 teams that can win it all, maybe 5 if you want to include Minnesota, if you want to wait for Minnesota to beat Detroit before you include them. But we got, Vikings, Lions, Eagles, Chiefs, Bills. That's it. No one else has a chance. 0. And even Minnesota feels weird saying. But if they beat Detroit, depending on if they rest players or not, then we can get a little bit of we already know Minnesota's good, but it's hard for us to admit Sam Darnold and the defense for Minnesota is legit and they're not going to shit the bed in the playoffs. Hopefully they can win a playoff game, and I feel like this year they feel like they can. They're different. They're not a fugazi fake. Final score: Notre Dame 23, Georgia 10, baby. What's more impressive, Notre Dame winning or holding Georgia to 10 and winning? The combination of both. And the tribal chief with the brilliant, audible, and then to be able to draw them off sides. I mean, that, and then obviously the quarterback leaping over the top. Those are moments that Notre Dame fans will never forget. And also just, letting you guys know the significance of those two plays. And if Notre Dame ends up winning it all or making it to the Natty and they beat Penn State, you're going to remember that momentum that they got from those two plays. Unbelievable. You the man. He said, yeah, that NWSF, he good. You see, he likes green apple too. Tribal Chief. Marcus Freeman. Dog. And he's young too. Like, Marcus Freeman's so young, shit, he looks like a player. Fucking A, this guy could be there for a long time. In Texas, even though they're a popular school, right? It's not a popular thing to say, but they look the worst out of the 4 teams that are left. But that doesn't mean that they're going to play the worst. It's going to be real spicy. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen something as dead even as the top bracket and the bottom bracket, maybe in my life. Like, that's how close. And if you're either team that loses, you're going to be crushed. If you're Notre Dame and you lose, you're going to be crushed because, like, you feel that you're on the Penn State level, if not, better. And if you're going to lose, you would rather, lose in the Natty rather than the game before the Natty. And then obviously with Texas and Ohio State, I mean, the way that Ohio State beat Oregon, my God, right? We'll see. Well, I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. You guys are the best. Congratulations, Odin's son, Marcus Freeman. What a genie. 23-10 over Georgia. Notre Dame versus Penn State. Texas versus Ohio State. I mean, that might be better than the NFL playoffs, depending on what we get. If we get, Chiefs, Bills, and if we get Eagles, Lions, then obviously that's must-see TV as well. But these games, if you're a college football fan, are on that same magnitude as NFC, AFC, Super Bowl, in my opinion. But again, if you're just a occasional watcher, you don't recognize the importance of it. But again, this is the first of many, and it's going to be a fun ride. Well, I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very much. And I got one question for you. Well, talk sports like us. Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatic. Shout out to all the new subs. I love you and appreciate you. We'll be at the bowl game here tomorrow. Check social media, and I'm out. Okay.